Okay, we are live.
Right. A fitting way to end the Fangoria movie challenge.
Yeah, so for any of you who are watching or go back and watch this from the beginning, the
Yes.
plan is here, we were trying to figure out how can we do a ranking of 101 movies without making like a massively long video. So we decided to do this live. So we will both be going through literally through the list. Jason will say his number 101, I'll say mine. Jason will say his number 100, I'll say mine. We'll go all the way down until we
All
make
the
it
way down.
to number one, and we'll probably have like a little break at 50 or so, and let everybody kind of get situated if they need to, and then we'll continue, and we're going to do all 101 movies in this one video.
That we should have seen.
Absolutely, and now we have.
Yeah, and that's like a real accomplishment, though. I mean,
it really is.
Think about it: 101 movies we watched and reviewed. 101. What the fuck?
Oh. And then we did another 86 for the next challenge.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we did. But I mean, it's just like it was a lot of fun. It really was.
It definitely was.
Yeah. We were both sad to see it end.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended kind of abruptly because we started watching like the last, 10 or 15 all at one time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a very abrupt way to end the Fangoria challenge and a good way to keep things rolling with the Terror in the Isles challenge.
Definitely.
So, all right, what do we got here? Got my cheese stick. Guess I got to take my pills in a little while.
I got some Sour Patch strawberries that I'm eating.
Oh, yeah? My mom made pizza tonight.
I was going to say, I just got back from the cookout, so I ate a bunch of there, and now...
Now you're snacking.
Yeah.
My mom used to make this Chef Boyardee pizza that was in a kit.
Oh, yeah?
She used to make it once a week when I was younger, and that's how we would have pizza. Mm-hmm. No place ever, delivered out to where I lived when I was a kid. Mm. So that's what we had to, if we wanted pizza, that was it. Either that or go out to dinner. But it was so nice to have that again after all these years,
Sure, yeah.
Cool. All right. Now, she used to put hot dogs in it, but today she put Black Forest ham, was it, I think? Pretty good. Pretty damn good.
So I figure we'll give people a few minutes if they want to come in and chat.
And say hi. And
again, this is one of those things where people can always go back later and watch it too if they want.
Yeah, definitely. This is more just for our record. And I mean, even though I'm going to keep the movies on there the way I have them, and I'm going to keep a record of it, but this is like a visual and audio record of what we've done.
Yeah, I didn't see any easier way to do this.
Me neither. Do you remember when I hit 100 movies in a month last year?
Yeah.
4 videos.
Yeah.
And I really even didn't talk about them that much.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It is. Mm-hmm. I was telling Corinne earlier, rather than keep 101 movies off to the side here, it's better to read them and talk about them off of a book, Mm. But so if any of you guys want to come in and say hi or, say what's up, now's probably the time, because we're not going to be chit-chatting a whole lot. I mean, if you guys have something to say about the movie that we're talking about, definitely be more than...
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, yeah, well, it isn't really like a super Slash Bros chat where it's kind of like open. Like, we want to kind of stick to the topic at hand just so we can get through it for anybody who's not watching it now and wants to go back later. But we're not going to ignore you either. So
yeah. And this is it's also kind of a thank you to you guys for watching our videos and commenting and,
Oh, that's cool. You see the comment we got there?
No, I didn't. Did we get one?
Yeah, her grandmother used to make the same pizza. Saturdays were pizza, snacks, and whatever horror flicks she could find.
Ah, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Who was that?
Mora Padua? Padua? I don't know how to pronounce
Oh, that's cool.
Thank you,
The
Mora.
St. Peter's Saturdays. Yes.
Very cool.
Very cool. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you've watched any of our videos, we'll fill them in as we go along, but we appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to get started in a few minutes. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. You are the man.
I appreciate that very much. No snacks, only whiskey. Yeah, I might do that in a little while. I had some beer earlier at the cookout, but who knows? There's always room for whiskey.
Yeah, and John followed a lot of our Fangoria too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so we appreciate it, John.
Yep.
So, Diana. Okay. All righty. We'll get started in a second.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we'll start with number 101.
101.
So what I'm going to do is go like this. And
oh, there we go. Look at the fancy technology.
How's that?
All right.
So what do you have for number 101?
My dead last was Wendigo. You and I talked a lot about our two movies that kind of didn't make it, and I told you the ones that didn't make it for me. But Wendigo had a good idea. It just didn't go anywhere. And to me, I was completely bored, just like you said earlier. If you bore me, I'm out. So, what about you?
My number 101 is The Wisdom of Crocodiles.
Really?
It is. Wow. And here's my reasoning.
Okay.
I don't remember a fucking thing about it. Honestly, and that's really what it comes down to. Unfortunately, it is, for me, it is the most forgettable movie we've watched. Now, that's not to say that I didn't like it, because I know I liked it when we watched it.
Right.
But it didn't stick with me for some reason. And I can barely remember anything about it. I mean, I literally remember bits and pieces, and I shouldn't have forgotten it so soon, because it really wasn't that long ago that we watched it.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you.
I'm trying to base this ranking on the movies, not on the viewing, so to speak. But with that being said, it was only the first time I watched it, so I have nothing else to base it off of than that one viewing.
Right. Now, see, I saw it before. Yeah. I watched it one time because I was trying to complete a pack, the one with reflective skin on there. So I watched it. I completely forgot about it. Now, when I watched it with you for the second time, I remember it started coming back to me, but kind of like you, and this is like a little hint of where it's going to place in mine, I kind of forgot about it pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's
and I've seen it twice.
I mean, I there's definitely one that I'm going to revisit at some point, because I do remember liking it.
Right.
It's just I kind of went back and forth between my number 101 and my number 100 as what I was going to put in dead last. And the only reason why I'll explain why my number 100 is my number 100 and why I had to make this one last. So, speaking
Channel Dawnstar, I appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, definitely. So, speaking of that,
and you're going to know exactly what this is, Joe, for my number 100.
Okay, number 100.
It's going to be Nomads.
Okay, I figured.
Now, I've talked at length with Joe about this, but I will be short in saying that I've tried to like this movie. I have watched it 4 or 5 times. I can tell you exactly what it's about, so it's not that it's forgettable. I just don't like it. It doesn't do anything for me, and even though it has Pierce Brosnan, who's one of my favorite actors, he does speak French, and it just doesn't sound like him.
I get it.
Yeah. So, Joe?
My number 100 is Wendigo.
Okay.
And for the same reasons as you, at first, it just doesn't really connect with me. I feel like there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I didn't put this one dead last is for more of a personal reason. The first time I watched the movie was with my mom.
Okay.
And then the second time I watched it was with you. So both viewing experiences were enjoyable. because I enjoyed watching it with my mom. I have that good memory, and I have enjoyed watching it with you, and I have that good memory.
Right.
But other than that, if I remembered the wisdom of crocodiles a bit better, I probably would have had this ranked last as well.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
There are certain things I like about it. It just doesn't resonate as well with me as it has other people, because I know there are people who are fans of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And it hurt putting it last because I like the cast.
I agree.
But the movie just fell flat for me, and I'm just not a Larry Fessenden fan. I like him in movies. I don't like him directing movies.
Gotcha.
So, all right. 99. And this kind of hurt a little bit because this was a first-time watch for me, and it was an urban ghost story. I did like this movie. I thought it was fun to watch it once, but will I watch it again? Probably not. It just kind of was just like a one and done. Okay, I've seen it. It's cool. Not really much to say about it.
I can see that.
Yeah.
My 99 is Nomads. I seem to be one step behind you. Really for the same reasons. I don't dislike it. I do think that I like it more than you do, but not by much.
Yeah.
It's just
I enjoyed it when I watched it, but
yeah, it's not one that I can't see myself really being in the mood to watch it all that often. It's not one that I see myself watching anytime in the near future again.
Right.
It's not, like I said, it's not something I dislike that I'll never watch this movie again, but I don't have any desire to watch it anytime in the near future.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
98.
Okay, 98 is The Sender.
Okay.
The Sender was neat because it was a first-time watch for both of us, and I'll always have that memory.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it felt disjointed and messy. And while I liked some of the premise behind it, it just, I don't know, it just it didn't feel complete.
So I'm right there with you because 98 is The Sender for me as well.
Okay.
And for the exact same reasons. I remember, so here's the thing with The Sender. Originally I had it a little higher.
Okay.
And as the challenge kind of went on, it kind of kept dropping space by space. I didn't have it much higher, but I had it somewhat higher. And because I remember when we were watching it, we were like, wow, this is a really good movie. Yeah. Up until a certain point where it sort of went off the rails for me.
Yep.
And it never really recovered.
Nope.
And that's the thing. Some movies can do that and they end up kind of coming back, coming back full circle and everything makes sense at the end.
Yeah.
This just sort of went off on like a tangent where it was like, I was like, why are they going in this direction? And then like I said, it never really went back to the roots of where it began.
Right. And I think they would have been served, to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, I think they would have been better served staying in the spot that they were when.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, Bones.
Hey, Bones.
Absolutely.
All right.
So we are on 97.
We actually had the same in 98. That was cool. My 97 is Immortality, The Wisdom of Crocodiles.
Okay, there you go.
And much for the same reason as Joe, I remember a little bit of what it's about now because I have watched it twice, but it is kind of forgettable. I like Jude Law in it. Yes, he's emo. Yes, he's mopey, but I did like him in it. It was just the rest of the cast. I could not tell you who was in it. I couldn't. Mm-hmm. I remember him. That was about it. Okay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What's your 97?
So a 97 for me is Urban Ghost Story, which you just mentioned.
Yep.
I liked it. I remember when we first watched it, we were like, wow, this is really good. And, this is cool. The first time watching it, I really dug it. But again, for the same reason, it's not one that I see myself wanting to revisit all that often. I can't really see me wanting to do that.
If I remember correctly, that was our number 2 movie.
It was for a little bit, yeah.
So, it's okay. And we actually did rank these as we went along just to let everybody know. But when you when you rank them, when you're doing them, sometimes you're just putting them in to make sure you don't forget, which I've done a couple times. But then you go back and you kind of trick the list and you look at what I watched, and I like this one more than this one. And that's kind of how we came up with what we, our list, how we did it.
Exactly. All right. So what was your 97?
Immortality, Wisdom of Crocodiles.
Wisdom of Crocodiles. Yep. And then, so for me, Urban Ghost Story, and those are our 97s.
Yes.
So 96.
Oh boy. I liked it a lot better, but for me, it's The Lair of the White Worm.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I liked it. And believe me, the first time I watched it, I didn't like it at all. The second time I watched it, it has now grown on me quite a bit better. But it is still, I mean, we watched some really good movies on this list.
We did, yes.
And it had to go somewhere. I liked Hugh Grant in it. I liked the other people that were in it. I liked the woman who, well, I don't want to spoil it, but I liked our main antagonist. But, other than that, it didn't really do much for me. Everything seemed kind of dreary and drab and, I don't know.
So 96 for me is The Devil's Daughter.
Oh, that hurts. Also known as The Sect.
Yeah. That one was a first time for me.
Yeah.
And while I did like it, this was another one that kind of has dropped a little bit just because, again, we were watching so many good movies, and
yeah,
I don't even think I realized that this one had gotten this low. But it was more not really the movie; it was more all of the rest of the movies, if that makes sense. It wasn't a matter of moving this one lower; it was a matter of putting others above it.
Right.
I guess it just gotten so far that it somehow ended up here at 96. Now, in contrast to some of the others lower than this is one that I see myself wanting to revisit sooner than later, because I think that I'll appreciate it more.
Yeah.
On a second watch and even a third watch, it is one that it's another one that I enjoyed. I enjoyed pretty much every movie on this list. Even my dead last movie. But it's definitely one. This is definitely one that I liked, and after just one watch, I think I'll probably appreciate it more after multiple viewings.
I felt the same way you did about The Sect the first time I watched it, or The Devil's Daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to challenge you maybe one day next year or year after, we'll watch it again. I guarantee you'll like it better. It's just one of those movies that has to sit with you for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee it. We'll do it again.
95.
Yep. John. Okay. 95 is The Borrower for me. Now, I really like The Borrower, but my problem with it is it was very unfinished. I know the history behind it. I know the fact that they ran out of money. I thought that the special effects were fantastic. Almost worthy of, putting up against a lot of other movies that have great special effects, like Day of the Dead and movies like that. But it just didn't feel finished to me.
My 95 is The Borrower for the exact same reasons you just said.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, I liked it a lot. There was a lot that I really liked in this movie.
Yep.
But it does. It feels unfinished, and it was. So, I liked what they were able to accomplish. It's just a shame that they didn't get to sort of flesh it out as much as they wanted to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
94.
All right, 94. You're not going to be very happy with me about. And what I would like to do is ask you to maybe make me a copy of it.
Make you a copy?
Yeah. My 94 is Shadow Builder. And the reason why it's so low is because, I'm going to say it right now, fuck MVD.
Okay.
It looks like shit. I've watched it twice now, and yes, I liked it better the second time. I liked the story. I liked the concept, but the movie looks so fucking bad.
I'm not sure why you said I was going to be mad with you, because my 94 is Shadow Builder. I'm dead serious.
Oh my God. I thought you liked it a lot more than I did.
I think I do like it more than you, but again, I just like the other movies more.
Yeah. I want to like it better. I just don't like the fucking copy.
Honestly, this one went up and down and up again. Like, this was kind of all over the place for me.
Yeah.
And literally, like I said, right before we started the stream, I was doing it again, kind of
Yeah.
finalizing my list, and I literally have it landed right here at 94.
That's fucking wild. We actually did not discuss this. Sometimes we would discuss our rankings while we were watching the movie or after the movie, but mine went through a lot of radical changes, and so did Joe's.
I think
So that's why I'm very surprised.
I think our top 20s will be in different orders, obviously, but I think it'll be a lot of the same movies, and I think our bottom will probably be a lot of the same movies. I think it's where the middle comes in. There's going to be some differences.
Definitely.
Hey, Katie, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Katie.
All right, we are on 93.
93 is, and this one hurts. It's The Asphyx. I really like this movie.
Okay, can you repeat to everybody that we did not discuss this, because 93 is The Asphyx for me.
Are you kidding me?
I'm fucking serious.
Wow. I really like this movie. I like
you know I do. I had seen it before.
Yeah, and I never had.
I really did like it, and but again, it's just this, and it's also one of the earlier ones we watched. And I hate to say it, but I think it does play a role with me. You know, just like anything else, when you see a newer movie that you really like, it sort of kind of takes precedence in your mind, especially when it's the first time or a watch that you haven't seen in a while. Yeah, and I think that's it's the only way to do it. I mean, it's hard to watch 101 movies that quickly, but
I agree.
You gotta keep that in mind too. So yeah.
And let me tell you this real quick, because you'll get a kick out of this. The place that I went, that the flea market, the guy opened it, that I got Jaguar lives. He had a cut box of The Asphyx, and I picked it up. I was going to buy it. He had a cut box of the VHS.
Nice.
Yeah, I almost bought it. I was like, nah, I already have it on Blu-ray. That's fine.
I've seen it around a few times, and I've left it behind too for that same. I'm just kind of like, I have it.
Yeah, I mean,
do I really need to see that movie? And I don't know. I mean, how many copies of that movie do I need? Yeah,
I'm kind of the same with you. If it was a whole box, I might have bought it for $5, but it wasn't. So
92.
92 for me is Prison.
Okay.
I really liked Prison. This is the second or third time I've seen it. I believe it was your first time, was it?
Oh no, I've seen Prison before.
Okay. I've seen Prison a few times, and I do like it. It just, I don't know. It's almost like a movie that goes in one ear and out the other for me. Okay. I like what's the guy from? I can't think of it. Viggo Mortensen. Mm-hmm. I like Kane Hodder as the villain, or I mean, he wasn't really the villain, but he was as the villain. I like the story of how he caught on fire because I watched the documentary. Mm-hmm. But the movie as a whole, I like it, but it's not one I'm going to return to very often.
That makes sense.
Yeah. You're 92?
Yeah. You ready for this?
What?
Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
I don't know. Again, this is one that dropped a lot for me.
Really?
And it's one that I've seen plenty of times. It's one that I would say that I definitely enjoy, but it's one of those odd movies where I forget a lot about it. Yeah. Like, it doesn't really stick with me as much as a lot of other movies. Like, again, it's not that memorable for me, but I still like it. It's like the same way I feel about, say, Elm Street, The Dream Master, Elm Street 4, or The New Blood from Friday the 13th. Like, these are movies I've seen a ton of times, but for some reason I forget certain parts of those movies.
Really?
Like they're not as memorable to me as the others.
Fair enough.
And that's sort of how I feel about Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
I'll let it go this time.
91.
All right, 91. We may have a similar problem with this one. My 91 is The Legend of Hellhouse.
Okay.
I really like this movie. I think I enjoyed it more when I watched it before than when I watch it now. I don't know. It just, I like it up until the end. That's about all I can say about it. I like it a lot up until the end. I find that the motivation is a little bit, you know.
I think, had we ranked these after my first watch of that movie, it probably would have been around here. Because, like I said, when I first watched it, I wasn't a huge fan of it, and for some reason, when we rewatched it, I loved it. The second,
it's a good movie. It really is. But I don't know. It's just something about the motivation at the end. I just felt myself going, wah, wah, wah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
91 for me is Prison.
Okay.
So, again, kind of the same things. It's like I don't really know how to pinpoint it. There's something different about Prison. It's like the way the kills are too. Like, I love the kills.
Yeah.
I wish there were more of them.
Me too.
And I wish they were spaced a little bit closer together. Like, there's sort of like a kill, then nothing, not nothing, but it's more of like a prison movie for like a long while, and then another kill, and then a prison movie again for a long while. It's almost like it didn't know if it wanted to be like a full out horror movie or a prison movie, and it kind of goes back and forth between like these two genres. And I feel like it didn't balance it as well as it could have.
I agree with you, Channel Don Star. Hell House is very, very atmospheric, and I was fine with pretty much everything up until the end. So, unfortunately, that's kind of where I landed with that one.
We are already on number 90.
Already? Oh, boy. My number 90 is Open Your Eyes. Now, I really like this movie a lot, but I couldn't justify putting it over top of some of the other movies that I like more.
Okay.
That's kind of just how it felt for me.
This may be end up being the one that we have the furthest apart in the list.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know. Let's Go Jessica to Death is...
Oh, that's true. That too, yeah.
Pretty high for me.
Yeah.
So.
That would probably be the one, actually.
Yeah. You know how much I love that movie.
90 for me is Death Dream.
Okay.
I don't know. This is kind of one where I really don't have a reason. It's just kind of where it landed.
Yeah.
It didn't really move. It's not one that I specifically moved a lot. Again, it was more of the other movies around it moving.
Yeah.
So it kind of landed in the spot, not intentionally, just how the rest of the movies played out. I really like it. I love Bob Clark. I love Black Christmas. I mean, the Christmas Story and Porky. I love his films. I don't know. I mean, it's one that I like more than I dislike, but it's one that I can also take and leave. Like, if someone said you have to get rid of one Bob Clark film, it might be this one.
Really?
Well, because I wouldn't get rid of Black Christmas. I wouldn't get rid of Christmas Story. I mean, what is it between? Porky's? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Two of those. So, that Death Dream is my number 90. 89.
89 for me was The Resurrected.
Okay.
Now, this was a first-time watch for me, so I'm thinking that I may end up liking it more with future watches, but right now, that's kind of where it ended up for me.
Okay.
I liked it. I like Chris Sarandon. I like pretty much everything he's been in. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that it was a first-time watch for this challenge. But other than that, I don't remember a whole lot about the movie. So that's kind of where it ended up. So
89 for me is Tombs of the Blind Dead.
Oh, God. All right, I quit. I quit. That's the biggest one now.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I'm more of a slasher guy.
I get that.
That's not typically my sort of genre. I really like it. I love the locations.
Yes.
The locations is amazing to me. The music, there's a lot to like about it. I want to repeat. I mean, I like pretty much every movie on this list.
Yeah.
So even though this is number 89, this is number 89 out of 101 movies that are really good for the most part. So
yes,
it's there are no losers here. It's just
no, that's true. That's true.
I gotta rank these movies somewhere, and that's where this one ends up at 89.
For when the book was made, they came up with a pretty damn good list. You know, I really feel that way. I feel that it was a damn good list.
I agree.
All right. 88 for me was Beyond the Door. This is a movie that I love. I love Beyond the Door. I love the goofiness. And in some ways, the goofiness goes along with the creepiness, because this has some really creepy moments in it. And it also has a lot of Campbell's split pea soup. But, you know, portraits and all that kind of stuff, which was so much fun to point it out when we were watching it.
Yeah, that's great. That, like the poster and stuff.
Yes, the poster. They had a picture of it. It wasn't a picture of mom and dad. It was a picture of fucking Campbell's soup.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it was just crazy. But I wonder if they did that on purpose just to piss off the people from The Exorcist, since they tried to have it stopped.
Yeah,
I mean, it had to have been.
I know.
But it's a fun movie, and I know a lot of people really don't care for it all that much, but I do. I think it's fun. So, yeah, but that's 89. 88. Yeah, 88.
My number 88 is Beyond the Door.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I mean, again, same thing. It's more of the goofiness that kind of puts it down here. I really enjoyed it. I find it really entertaining. I mean, if I'm being honest, you know, all right, and this is in the next challenge. You know, The Exorcist is in the next challenge, and we talked about this when we watched it. I love The Exorcist, and it's, you know, The Exorcist I have ranked a lot higher in that challenge than I obviously have Beyond the Door ranked here. But I'm not ashamed to say that there are probably going to be days when I'm going to prefer to watch something like Beyond the Door over The Exorcist, because I don't feel like having the energy to put into The Exorcist. Whereas Beyond the Door has that goofiness. It's entertaining. It's kind of faster paced, and you know, there's different things to appreciate about Beyond the Door than The Exorcist. The Exorcist is a lot more serious, obviously.
Right.
All right, 87.
Wow. 87 for me was a movie that fell a lot in my final list, and that's Jack's Back.
Okay.
It was a second time watch for me. I like James Spader. I pretty much like just about everything he's been in. And it's not that. It's just the movie. It almost feels like a television movie, if that makes any sense.
It does. It definitely does.
And that's the kind of feel I got for it. And I don't know. It just kind of ended up that way for me. It fell pretty hard.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. 87 for me. 2000 Maniacs.
Okay. All right.
This was another first time watch for me. I really liked it. Again, I really liked it. I think this is one I'll like more with subsequent viewings. I think maybe it's the age of it. I don't know. I think that kind of has a little bit to do with it. I think, and it's weird because it's the age of it is like a pro and a con for me. Like I like what he did for that time, but at the same time, with the way some of it looks, it's like I imagine what he could have done, you know, a decade later with it.
Exactly.
I think that's probably why I have it really low. 86.
86 for me was a movie that also moved, and that is going to be Horror Express.
Right.
I love the cast. Christopher Lee's amazing. Peter Cushing's amazing. The reason behind, or the time period that Peter Cushing did that movie when his wife passed away, to me, it gets me. It really does. I love the crate. I like what's in the crate. But, I mean, it just kind of fell in this area. It's kind of like not a blah movie, but a movie that I'm probably not going to return to as much as a lot of other ones. But I do enjoy I enjoy the watch.
86 for me is Strange Behavior.
Oh.
It's a movie I like a lot. I feel like it gets a little slow in areas.
It does. it does.
And I think that's really my only thing with that is I feel like the pacing could have been better. There's a bunch I think that could have been cut out and that really wasn't necessary.
You think so?
I do. I feel like there's a couple redundant scenes talking about the same things and stuff that could have sort of been done in one shot. And going back to like The Exorcist, same thing I said. Like it's like showing Reagan in the hospital 3 fucking times. Like we know she's getting these tests done. So do it all in one shot and just use some wording to say, oh yeah, she's been to the hospital 3 times or whatever.
Or at least say what she had done and don't sit there and try to show it every time.
And I think that this movie suffers a little bit the same sort of stuff. Certain conversations are had multiple times, and so, okay, we know what's going on. Let's just get to it. So that's why I have that one at 86.
Yeah, I understand that. I can get with that.
How do I have this? Did you throw it over here?
Yes, I did.
Just recently?
85.
Yeah. 85 is going to sound familiar. It is Death's Dream.
Okay.
This is kind of where it fell. I like Death Dream. I've seen it a few times now, and I don't dislike it. I appreciate it because it's a bit of a different type of zombie movie.
Yeah.
And because zombie movies and vampire movies are some of my lowest types of horror, if you do something different, I'm going to enjoy it more. But like we keep saying, there's a lot of good movies on this challenge, and that's just kind of where it fell for me. It actually went up from where it was. It was down further. But then I started thinking about things, and I started thinking about how I felt during the movie, how I felt after the movie. And that's kind of just how it went for me. But I really do enjoy that movie, and I probably will be watching it again, maybe in a few months.
Okay.
So
85 for me is the Deadpit.
The what?
The Deadpit.
Oh, and I get it.
Yeah, the Deadpit is there's really not a whole lot of story to it.
Right. There's literally none.
Yeah, it's just it's entertaining, but there's just no real meat to it. It's like it's almost like you get the appetizer, but there's no like main course. And it almost feels unfinished to me too. It feels like almost rushed a little bit. Like,
yeah,
it feels like someone wanted to make a movie and didn't really have any idea of what to do with it, so they just kind of grabbed the camera and had fun.
I like Death Dream, John. It just kind of fell in this area. I mean, there's so many good movies on this challenge that, some I couldn't justify being higher or lower. So.
I mean, when we get to like the 40s, I'm already like, Jesus, any of these could have been in like a top 10 in any other list.
Pretty much.
It's crazy. Like I'm looking at some of them, like, how did this get so low?
Yeah.
And it's only because I'm looking above the movies above it. And I'm like, there's no way I can put this one higher than these. But at the same time, this is a movie that I love. And in some way, it's that number 40 or whatever. All right. So we are on 84.
84? Yeah, 84. It's 2000 Maniacs. A lot for the reasons you just stated.
Yeah.
I really like Herschel Gordon Lewis. I like what he did. I like what he did for us horror fans. I think, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like when you talk about people like Herschel Gordon Lewis and stuff, and you say, well, if he didn't do it, somebody else would have come along and done it. Would they?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. So, I mean, I really like him. I really like 2000 Maniacs. I think it's a lot of fun. The newer one is a lot more relevant. So, I don't know if I like it more, but I like it as much, maybe.
I got to watch it because I remember I got it recently. So
yeah, you definitely got to watch it. But yeah, it is what it is. It had to fall somewhere, and this is where I felt comfortable putting it.
84 for me is Luther the Geek.
Oh, come on.
It's a lot of fun, but in the grand scheme of things, how many times am I going to watch Luther the Geek? This is a fun movie. This is a movie that I'm going to watch like with you and Brad or something. It's a movie that you kind of watch with friends and just like laugh at. It's not. I don't see myself sitting one night and be like, I really feel like watching Luther the Geek. It's more of like it's more of like a movie you watch with friends or somebody else to get a kick out. That sort of thing.
What? I completely agree with that.
So that's
I didn't really take that into consideration when I placed mine.
that's kind of what I looked at. I looked at all these different reasons of where to rank these things because I had to rank them in certain spots because not everything can be in the top 10. So
very true.
All right, 83.
All right, 83. 83 for me is going to be Kingdom of the Spiders.
Okay.
Now I have a lot of memories with this, which I stated in my review. Mm-hmm. But I am scared of spiders, so that's probably why it's pretty low. For that moment alone, pretty much.
Really?
I'm petrified of spiders, so this is not one I'm going to return to a whole lot.
It's interesting because I'm really not scared of spiders, but my number 83 is Kingdom of the Spiders.
No shit, really?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of where it belongs. I feel like it's better than if you haven't seen Kingdom of the Spiders. I feel like it's one of those movies that people aren't going to take seriously and think it's going to be that good. I feel like it's a lot better than you would think. I know, like the first time I saw it, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is.
Right.
It's a killer spider film with William Shatner, and you're just expecting, how's that going to be? But I really like it. I like the town, the setting and everything that it's in, and it's actually a really, really done movie. There's some cool shots in that one. I had a really good time with it.
Yeah.
It's just, again, compared to the other movies on the list, it can only go so high. I can't see really putting it any higher. And where it is.
By the way, perfect double feature would be that and Bug.
Exactly, it really
almost
would.
the same movie.
Counts. Yeah. 82.
82 for me. This was the hardest one for me to place, but I placed it here. It was Ticks.
Okay.
I really like Ticks, but it had to go somewhere. I really enjoyed watching it again after all this time.
I'm laughing because my 82 is Ticks.
Oh my god!
For me, here's my reasoning. Okay, I had no idea where to put this. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, what do I like better, the ticks or the spiders? So I literally put it right above Kingdom of the Spiders because I was like, okay, it's a similar thing. It's a killer bug film, but which of these killer bug films do I like more? And
exactly.
That's how I determined where to put these two films. And they're literally right next to each other. And I have Ticks at 82.
Yeah, Ticks is fun. All right.
81.
81 for me was the Deadpit.
Okay.
And it was pretty much exactly what you said. I mean, this has little to no story. Yeah. I love the zombies. Like I said, if you can do something a little bit different with zombies, I'm all about it. I like the zombies. I like the doctor. I like the girl running around half naked the whole time. Mm-hmm. But other than that, But I am more likely to revisit this than some of the other ones.
Okay. 81, I have The Resurrected. So I really like The Resurrected, but I think it's one of the things you said about it as well is that it's a little forgettable.
Yeah.
And I have seen it a few times. I like the fact that it was filmed locally, so that's always kind of a plus for me.
Yeah.
But even having seen it multiple times, there's a lot that I don't remember about it.
Yeah.
And there's some really great scenes. Like I love like the end and stuff when they're literally like in that pit, I guess you could call it. When they're underground and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
A lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of cool gore. I love Chris Sarandon in it.
Yep.
But again, it's not a memorable movie to me, especially in the scope of Lovecraft films. It just doesn't really stick with you as much as I'd like it to. So, The Resurrected at 81, and we are on number 80 now.
Number 80. Yeah, I love Ticks too. Like a lot of these movies, I do adore, but the ones above it are just better. That's the only way I can really put it. Okay, I'm going to take some shit for this one, I'm sure. Number 80 is Last House on the Left.
Okay.
This has never been one of my favorite Wes
I know
Craven
you
films.
did. Yeah, I know you did that.
I found myself the last two times I've watched it, I've enjoyed it a lot more than I have in the past. but at the same time, it's still one of my least favorite. So it has to, this is where it fell.
80 for me is Deranged.
Ooh.
I like it a lot. Robert's Blossom is awesome. I think he's fantastic in the role.
Right.
But ultimately it's a TCM, another version of TCM in a way. I mean, it's based on the same serial killer. It's just to me, it always reminded me of sort of, I don't know, not I hate to say low budget TCM, because not that TCM had a big budget either.
Right.
It's almost like a I don't know, like a multiverse version of TCM. Like, if
I can see that.
It's I don't know.
I think it stuck more to the story of Ed Gein than TCM did, though.
Yeah,
That's the one thing I'll give it.
Like how Solo, a Star Wars story, fits into the Star Wars franchise.
Right.
Like it's that part of the universe, and like an alternate universe version of TCM.
Yeah.
79.
79 was also a tough one, just like Ticks for me, because I wanted this to be higher. I just couldn't justify it. And that's Mother's Day.
Okay.
And the reason for Mother's Day for me is the same reason I explained in my review. I'm very up and down with this film. Mm-hmm. Like, one time I love it. The next time it gets on my nerves. Next time I love it. It's kind of like almost like that every time. This time I wasn't as fond of it as I had been in the past.
Okay.
I do like the two guys that are in it, and I like Mama.
I love the fucking ending.
Yes, the ending is just brilliant. Just brilliant. I feel like they reached for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I like that they did that. I like that they went ballsy with the end. So, yeah. And that's 79, Mother's Day.
79 for me is Deep Rising.
Ooh, now that I'm very surprised of.
Well, this one admittedly was a lot higher, and it kind of dropped. I think mainly because it's a horror movie, but it's like an action horror.
Yeah.
And I love Treat Williams. I pretty much like him in everything.
Yeah. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I've always been a Treat Williams fan. This is almost surprising to me. I feel like this would have ended up higher on the list, but
yeah,
I just think more of a process of elimination, seeing other things, and this is sort of where that ended up. I have a lot of fun with it, but it's very like big screen horror movie. I know it didn't do too well, which is unfortunate. I wish it did better.
It is. It is unfortunate.
It's very much like, again, going to like the movie theater, and I feel like it's more exciting to watch on like a big screen because it's action-packed kind of horror, as opposed to, sitting at home with the lights off watching a scary movie. It's not that kind of.
Right.
79.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I get that.
Number 78.
Number 78 is I Spit on Your Grave, or Day of the Woman. I think that's what we put it under, Day of the Woman.
I Spit on Your Grave. That's what it is.
Yeah. I like it. I hadn't seen it in a very long time, because I remember telling you that when we watched it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it. Now, in the meantime, I had seen a lot of the remakes. And I really like the remake. I really like part 2 and part 3. I kind of like it better than the original.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I have to see the remake again, but that's a tough one for me. I do like the original, though. I like the girl that plays the writer. But the hoodlums, I kind of like them better in the remake, if that makes any sense.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of my reasoning for that one.
Okay, my 78. What are we on? Yeah, 77. What the fuck are we on?
78.
Okay, so is the Boneyard.
Okay.
I don't know. It's wacky. It's fun.
Yeah.
But again, it's not one I'm going to watch a lot. Like I mean, obviously I love the poodle stuff. I love that it takes place. It's like another Thanksgiving horror movie.
Yep. Norman Fell.
It doesn't get mentioned. You always look for like holiday movies and stuff, and that's another one that can be watched around Halloween time. Thanksgiving time. But it's not one that I'm going to. Again, I'm not one that I'm going to revisit often. Like I kind of watch it. I'm good for a while.
Hey, Mr. Boone.
Everybody remembers the poodle stuff, but I feel like those kids are even scarier. You know,
Me too. Hell yeah.
Has a way of being really funny, but then genuinely creepy at the same time, which is something to really appreciate about it.
I completely agree with
those
that.
Kids are definitely creepy. I love the giant poodle. It's a blast, but I really can't see putting it any higher than this.
Yeah. Just as a hint, it's not much higher on mine. So, we're getting there.
All right, 77.
77 is for me Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Okay.
This is kind of one that stayed in the same position almost the entire time.
Really?
I really like this movie. I really like the fact that it was PG and it was one of those 70s, early 80s PG movies that you couldn't get away with.
Yeah.
I like Donald Sutherland. I like, what was her name? Brooke Adams.
Yeah.
I liked Jeff Goldblum in it. I like the special effects. But it's a tad too long for me.
Yeah.
Just a tad.
I get that.
Yeah. 77
for me is one that you already mentioned. That's Mother's Day.
Yeah.
2
apart. Not bad.
What sort of escalated it for me is this is one of my mom's favorites. So, everybody has like those personal attachments to certain movies.
Mom likes Mother's Day?
She likes Mother's Day a lot, yeah.
Nice. Does she like the remake?
She does. She actually saw the remake before I did. She bought me the remake because she needed me to see it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
She's a fan.
Mom's awesome.
It's some of my favorite stuff that Troma does. Like Troma can do some really over the top wacky stuff that's just silly, but then they do some genuinely good like slashers or whatever, like Mother's Day.
Right. Graduation Day too.
It feels like a Troma film to an extent, but if someone told you that's not made by Troma, you would believe them too.
Right.
You don't watch it. It's definitely Troma. So I feel like it's like high quality Troma. Not this shit on Troma because I like Troma, but I feel like it's a higher quality Troma film, and I've always enjoyed it. Like I said, when you were talking about it, I love the ending. I think it was a really clever way to end it.
Yes.
Just that last like ha.
Yep.
It's great.
It's what everybody was searching for at that time, but very few were able to pull off, and I think they did a good job of pulling it off. Hey, Mr. Boone, how are you?
Right, 76.
76 is one that went down a lot for me, and that's Stir of Echoes. Okay. Now, I really like this movie. I like Stir of Echoes a lot. I've seen it a few times. I like the fact that Kevin Bacon went for it. He went with the accent and everything. Mm-hmm. I like the story. But it's another one that almost feels like a TV movie for me.
Okay. I can see that.
And I mean, I even like the neighborhood things, even though I find it a little outdated now because of the times that we live in. But, that sense of community just really isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It really is. Not to make a statement on that or whatever, but that was one of the things that kind of struck me about that movie. But yeah, that's my reasoning for it. But Kevin Bacon is really good in it.
Definitely, I agree. 76 for me is Jack's Back, which you already mentioned.
Yeah.
This is another one that's a little forgettable for me.
Yeah.
Like you said, it does have that TV movie feel.
Yep.
I feel like they could have. Can I explain this? I feel like it holds back. I feel like when I'm watching it, like I'm expecting something more, and I'm not necessarily unsatisfied with the movie, but I feel like they could have gone a little bit further with things, and I don't really know how. I just feel like it doesn't feel completely like it meets its potential.
Right. I agree. Completely agree.
I think that goes to the TV movie thing, almost like they had like these limits on it for some reason. Like you can't go this far with it.
Right.
And I feel like it should have at some point, but it never really does.
It had the potential to be Rampage, but it wasn't.
Yes, that's a good way.
It had the potential, but it just didn't follow through.
I agree.
Yeah.
75.
75 and this is going to be a probationary 75. This is the only one that's like this on my list, and that is Death by Temptation. I really like this movie, and the reason why it's on probation is because I got a cut trauma version of it.
Okay.
I want to get the full version and watch it again and see if
I remember that. I remember when we were watching it, you had the cut version. That's right.
Yep.
Holy shit, that's right.
Yeah, for me, that kind of affected my watching of the film.
Yeah.
It didn't feel authentic.
I think it's going to be higher for you when you watch it.
So that's probationary.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, it really is. And just like you were saying with Mother's Day, it doesn't feel like a trauma movie.
Oh, not at all.
You could pass it off as a trauma movie, but if you also told somebody that it wasn't, they believe you.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's 75 for me. Probationary.
75 for me is When a Stranger Calls.
We're not too far off on that one. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had this up a little bit higher. I dropped it down after we watched it again.
Okay, I completely get that.
And so the first 20 minutes are fucking brilliant. I don't think anybody's going to deny that.
Right.
And when we watched it for this challenge, I really did appreciate the rest of the film more than I ever have in the past.
Right.
But having watched it again for Terror in the Isles challenge, and again, I'm ranking these based on the movies, not based on the viewings, but based on the movies, what the movies have to offer. Right. I realize that it's not one that I'm going to want to revisit so close together and all that often, because I don't get me wrong, again, I love the opening, but the rest of the movie is more of a character study, and there's nothing wrong with that, because I think the killer is brilliant in it, but it's just not something that I'm going to want to watch all that often. I think I might be with you, and I think I might actually prefer not only the remake but the sequel.
Yeah.
I 100% prefer the remake of When a Stranger Calls.
Me too. Me too.
I really do. I love it.
That's on our list too, by the way. That's on our list too. Try to remember that, because I'm going to try.
Oh yes.
People shit on that one too. Yeah.
I love that, and I just think that just shows what this one was lacking a bit. I feel like I wish they got back to what's her face sooner, Carol Kane's character.
I do too.
I feel like
it seemed like an afterthought at the end. She almost seemed like that.
Like I feel like she's really not in it all that much, and not that that's significant, but it kind of is, because the movie would make you believe that she is.
Right.
Like I sort of wish he got out and went right back after her. And that's it.
I could have dealt with a little bit more of his storytelling, but like we always say, they could have condensed that and made it a lot shorter, and then had him go after her a lot longer.
But you can do it in the process. What I'm saying, in his pursuit of her, you could have gotten through that stuff. You didn't have to go on so long, as you just said. Like,
yeah, I guess, yeah.
He kind of comes back. You get to see the real him for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he somehow finds her, and then the rest of the movie focuses on that. Like you said, it seems more like an afterthought at this point.
Yeah, and that kind of bothered me a little bit. And just to let everybody know, all 7 people that are watching, we are rewatching some of these movies for the Terror in the Isles challenge, which we're going to be starting this week. And I think some of the movies suffered from a second watch. Mm-hmm. One of the movies that I'll be getting to in a little while actually benefited from a second watch.
I know what that was.
But yeah, but I think Invasion of the Body Snatchers suffered. I think When a Stranger Called, because I think we watched them too close together.
But see that's why and that's why it affected my ranking, because I'm looking at some of these other movies, like not to spoil it, but like a Rampage, like we just mentioned.
Right.
And Rampage, I mean, we watched multiple times. And honestly, I'd watch it again right now and still enjoy it as much as ever. So I gotta, I kind of look at that too. Like, which of these movies are gonna still entertain me as much on subsequent watches?
I watched Rampage. I think it was 4 times right around that time that you sent it to me. I watched
Yeah.
both cuts 2 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I mean,
back to back, back to back. I fucking loved it. So yeah,
we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, we will. We will.
74.
74 was a Chinese ghost story, and this is another one that was kind of like where I just didn't know where to put it.
I had the same problem with this one.
Yep, I liked it.
I didn't know where to go.
But I liked a lot of the other movies better. Okay. And I started watching the Chinese ghost story cartoon.
Yeah.
Not to go off track or whatever, but I watched about 5 minutes of it and I ended up shutting it off because I wasn't in the mood for it.
Yeah.
And I figured I wanted to give it a fair shake. Mm-hmm. So I want to do it when I'm more in the mood for it.
All right. 74 for me is Let Sleeping Corpses Lie.
Oh.
I think it's really a matter of, again, being a zombie movie. As far as zombie movies go, I love this one.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I mean, it's not Dawn of the Dead for me, but I do love Let Sleeping Corpses Lie.
Right.
You know, on if I did like a top 10 list of zombie movies, it would probably be on there. I mean, it would almost certainly be on there.
Yeah.
I really do like it, but in the grand scheme of things, with this list featuring slasher films and psychological horror films and whatever, killer doll films, whatever else, zombie films are just not going to rank that high for me again, unless Dawn of the Dead was on here.
Yeah.
And there is another a zombie movie that's coming up that I do have higher. But
yeah,
it's just the genre. You know, it's nothing against the movie.
Yeah, that subgenre is very tired for me. It really is.
Yeah, it's too much.
But I love Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. There's just something about it.
All right, 73.
Number 73 for me had a big jump. It was a lot higher, but it ended up here, and that was Screamers.
Okay.
I really enjoy Screamers. I think I liked it better the first time I watched it than the second time with you, and that's nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. It's just that it's a very enjoyable sci-fi horror flick that I think could have done a little bit more. I think it could have been better if they would have put maybe more of the kills in there.
Yep.
So that's where it kind of suffered for me just a little bit. I still love it, but yeah, it's just there's so many movies I like better.
Yep. So for me, 73 is Screamers.
Get the fuck out of here, really?
And it's the same thing. Like, you kind of hit the nail. Like, I wish they could have shown more of the kills. I feel like they could have done a little bit more. I feel like the ending
ran out of money too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the ending is a lot kind of happens all at once, and it's like, okay, there's kind of these reveals, and it's getting really exciting, and then it just ends.
Yeah.
And
yep,
that was sort of a letdown for me because I feel like they could have cut some stuff maybe from earlier in the film, not cut stuff, but could have shortened some scenes, like when they're walking, for example.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that time would have been better used elsewhere.
Yep. But with that being said, I'll watch Peter Weller in anything. I don't care.
Oh yeah, I mean, 73 sounds low, but again, with the list, this is. I mean, we're in the area where I really like these movies. So
yeah, I liked every single movie except for 2.
Yeah.
And I don't hate Nomads. I just don't like it. Wendigo, I don't hate it. I just don't like it. So yeah.
72.
That was tough for me to say though, because that movie kind of pisses me off a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, 72.
Mm-hmm.
72 for me is this went up a bit and then down and then back up again.
Okay.
And it was The Vanishing.
Okay.
The Vanishing. Okay. Because I watched the other one right before I saw this one.
Well, that was your mistake.
Yeah, it was. Now, granted, I had seen both of them before.
Mm-hmm.
But enough time had passed where I think I would have gotten more out of it had I watched the one for this challenge with you,
yeah,
and then watched the one with Kiefer Sutherland.
I agree, yeah.
But I'm going to tell you something. This movie is fucking disturbing.
Yeah.
Okay, on every level.
It is. It's scary.
Yes, it is.
It's a scary movie.
And in the end, I still say where the American version, they made this happy little story ending.
Mm-hmm.
When you see the guy, and I don't want to spoil it, but when you see that guy just go on with his fucking life, I just sat there and
I know.
was like, what the hell, man? What the hell did I just watch? How is he doing that?
Yep.
It just takes a different type of person, and that's
It's hard, yeah. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. It really is. It's tough. Tough watch.
72 for me is The Changeling.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a brilliant ghost story, a haunted house movie. I gotta be in the mood for him though, and I just gotta be in the mood for him. It's a little bit long.
Yes, there you go.
It's
Pacing.
The pacing is slower than I would have wanted. It is odd to say because in haunted house movies sometimes you need that slow burn, but I feel like it got a little too slow.
Yeah.
In spots, you know what I mean? I feel like it definitely would have benefited from being a bit shorter.
Yeah.
Again, as far as ghost stories go, I think it's really well done, other than being too slow.
Yep, I completely agree with you. It's higher on mine, but I do agree with everything you just said.
71.
71 is When a Stranger Calls. This is one that was a little higher for me, but actually went down because of the viewing for the Terror in the Isles challenge. This did not benefit. Now, I've seen this movie so many times, but it's usually spaced out. Joe and I probably watched it within 6 months of itself. And while I can watch some movies in that period of time, like Friday the 13th Part 2, Halloween, the list goes on and on, Phantasm.
Yeah.
That is not one that I can do that with.
Yeah.
And it suffered for it. That's just, it has to go where you think it has to go. And that was it for me.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Rick. What's up, man?
71 for me is one that you've already passed, and that's I Spit on Your Grave.
Yep.
I'm not somebody who typically gets disturbed by movies, so I know that people are like, "Oh, I can't watch I Spit in Your Grave. Oh, it's horrible." I'm like, you know what? It's a movie. Call me sick all you want, but it's like I don't know. It doesn't really bother me.
Nope.
I like it. I love the whole revenge aspect of it. I think.
Yep.
I think she was pretty cute in the movie. That kind of helped make it happen. Time.
Some of these rug and all.
Yeah. I mean, she was good. She was a good-looking naked chick through most of the movie, committing some brutal revenge on guys who deserved it. So, I've always enjoyed seeing it happen. I mean, it's just a satisfying conclusion.
Yes, it is.
They get what they have coming to them,
Yep.
and I just think it's like almost like I'm a big fan of EC Comics and Tales from the Crypt. Like the just desserts. Like
yes.
the bad guys get it in the end, and that's it.
Yep. And I think there's a perfect mix in that movie too, where you have them doing such a horrible thing, and the fact that it was the longest rape scene in any movie for years and years and years, and that justifies what they end up getting at the end, the severity of the punishment that they end up getting from this woman. Absolutely. So I think it's like almost like a perfect mix.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree with that.
Number 70.
Number 70 was one that dropped for me. Even though we watched the unrated cut, which wasn't the original cut, but it was Swamp Thing.
Wow. Holy shit.
I love Swamp Thing. I have a lot of really good memories of it because my father took me to see it. And I actually saw the unrated cut. I don't know how I saw it because it was supposedly not in the theaters, but I did. I saw Adrienne Barbeau's boobs when I was a young kid and loved every fucking minute of it. And yeah, a lot of sentimental value, but it is where it is. I mean,
okay. 70 for me is Motel Hell.
Oh, that hurts. Wow.
I think again, it's like I don't know. I think I like my slashers a little bit more serious.
Okay,
that makes sense?
That.
I mean, it's don't get me like so. If my favorite slasher is Friday the 13th Part 2,
Mine too.
It's not to say that that's a completely serious slasher film, but it has more of the cheesiness, that almost the unintentional cheesiness, whereas Motel Hell has this intentional cheesiness, and I almost have to be in the mood to watch a movie like that.
I get that. I do. I get that.
The whole heads and buried and stuff. And it's cool. I think it's a cool thing. But if I'm not in the mood for something like that, then it's not going to be too appealing to me. I'd much rather watch something else.
Very much like Mountaintop Motel
Massacre.
Right. What is her name? Edna?
Yeah.
And are they Edna in both of them? Or Ethel?
No, Ethel, yeah.
Okay. What was in Motel Hell? Edna?
I don't remember.
Was that his sister? But they're kind of like almost like the same character.
They are. Wasn't that my recommendation? I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was. It was freaking perfect.
Yeah. All right, we are on number.
Swamp Thing ain't a horror film. It was on the Fangoria. It was in the Fangoria book. Do I agree with you? I think it has horror elements because it's a monster movie.
Well, it's based on a horror comic, so to me, it's horror.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it is. I mean, Swamp Thing was a horror comic, so
yeah. Right.
Not hard to argue.
Okay. 69 for me is Ravenous.
Okay.
I like Ravenous a lot. I like I always forget his name. David Arquette. I really liked him in it. I really liked the main character in it. Was that Guy Pearce?
Guy Pearce, yep.
It's a very fun movie that kind of turns it up on its ear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to give anything away, but I like the setting. I like the bad guy, if you want to call him a bad guy. I like everything about it. It is just kind of bland.
Okay. 69 for me is Lair of the White Worm.
Oof, that was a big difference.
This was a first time watch for me. I would think I was expecting to not like it as much, so I think that kind of helped with the ranking a bit.
Yeah,
there's definitely there's a uniqueness to it that I appreciate.
Me too.
I like the locations and the setting and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just an atmospheric one for me. It kind of did some different things that I didn't expect, and
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's one that I don't necessarily remember a ton about, but from what I do remember, it's one that it's one of the top movies that I probably want to revisit sooner than later.
Really?
Yeah, there's just something about it. Like I kind of want to watch it again and revisit and see how I feel about it a second time, because I did very much enjoy it the first time, and I really wasn't expecting to.
I will tell you that I expected that to be dead last. So the fact that it ended up being number 96 is progress.
Yeah.
So, because I did not like it the first time I watched it, and this was only the second time I had seen it was with you. So, okay, it will be Deranged.
Okay.
I liked how they kept to because we were talking about this before. I like how they kept with the whole Ed Gein sort of storyline. I thought that the lead character, I can't remember his name. What's his name?
The actor?
Yeah.
Robert Blossom.
Yeah. I thought he was great in it.
He is.
I liked the scene around the dinner table. I thought was brilliant.
Yep.
Although I did like the one in Texas Chainsaw Massacre more. But what really impressed me about that film was the fact of the facts of the case about the gun in the store and that they put all that in there. I really enjoyed that. Is it a great movie? Well, I really like it, but I don't know that I necessarily call it great, but I really liked it. So yeah, that's number 68.
68 for me is Rabid.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I love Cronenberg. This one was definitely one of the most relevant movies on the list.
Yes.
Especially watching it during the COVID pandemic. It was like, holy shit. Like the way the government was acting in that movie was a lot like the government was acting in real life. But I mean, it's not my favorite Cronenberg film.
Not mine either. I think it's in the bottom part of mine, to be honest.
Yeah, so it sort of just had to go somewhere. And
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like 68, even though it's the bottom half, it's still pretty high considering a lot of these movies we're going to be getting to are like really, like I said, we get into about the 40s, and I have movies that I would have considered putting in my top 10 or 20 at some point if
I
there were
agree.
certain movies on the list. So, 68 really isn't all that bad for Rabbit.
No, not at all. I don't think so.
67.
67 is for me would be the Boneyard. And I everything you said about the poodle and everything, I do think the kids were scarier. Mm-hmm. And that was I think it was my second time watching it with you. I know I watched it one time and then I watched it with you.
Yeah.
And the second time that I watched it, I couldn't remember a lot of what happened. Or no, I'm sorry. The first time I watched it, I couldn't remember a lot of what happened in the film. But when I watched it with you, I was like, damn, them kids are fucking frightening. Mm-hmm. And of course, I liked the stuff with the poodle. It was goofy. It was goofy fun.
Yeah.
And I like the fact it's different. And that's the problem that we're having today with a lot of horror. That was a really different type of movie. Really different.
I have to see that in the remake.
What's that?
The Rabbit remake.
Oh, it's really good. What did you say?
I gotta check it out.
You liked it? Oh, nice. So did I. I thought it was great. Yeah, but I really liked the Boneyard, and that's why it was 67. It fell a little bit in the ranking, but
I think that's pretty good for the Boneyard.
Yeah.
67 is definitely. 67 for me is a Chinese ghost story. Like you said, like you said, it's just I didn't really know where to put this one. Yeah. I think it was a fucking blast. I mean, we were kind of putting this one off, I think, for a little bit there because we were like, not kind of be in the mood for it. I mean, it's first of all, you got to be in the mood to read the subtitles. You got to be in the mood to follow along enough with the subtitles in this wacky Chinese ghost story kind of movie.
Yep.
But this is one of those movies that had like everything, including the kitchen sink.
Yes.
I mean, all the shit started happening, and it's like, oh my god! Like they just threw everything they had at it. I thought it was wild. I couldn't wait to watch the sequel, which I still haven't done. I need to do that because I have part 2. I liked it a lot. This one is one that I can say definitely stuck with me. Some images from that movie.
I agree.
And, I do think that's one that more people should see because no one really talked about that. And
it's a shame too. It really is.
I feel like that's one that people will dig. It's not just a ghost story either. It's like a really fantastical, and there's a lot of fantasy, dark fantasy elements in that movie. And I enjoyed that one a lot.
And the best thing I could say about that movie, even though it was a little bit lower on my countdown, was the fact that it made me want to eventually get the part 2 and part 3.
Yeah,
and that's one of the best things you can say about a movie. If you want to see the sequels, then it had an effect on you.
Yep.
So
66.
66 was a tough one. That was Lamora, A Child's Tale of the Supernatural.
Okay.
I love the art house feel of it. I love the atmosphere. Sometimes I think it struggled to keep my attention.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it. It was the second time I'd seen it when I watched it with you. Mm-hmm. And I liked it a lot more than I did the first time. I liked it the first time, but I really liked it a lot when I watched it with you. And like you said, it may not seem like it. 66 may not seem like that big of a deal, but compared to the other films on there, I think it was pretty amazing.
66 for me is Lamora, A Child's Tale of the Supernatural.
Fuck out of here.
It's the same sort of thing. I mean, I really can't say anything better than what you just said. I liked it a lot. I can see it being a movie that if I'm not paying full attention, I'm going to lose track of what's going on very quickly. And I think it's one that you kind of need to be in the mood for. It's one that you really need to be paying attention to get the full effect of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not, it doesn't have that rewatchability. Don't get me wrong. It's not one that I'm saying that I wouldn't want to see again because I would, but it's not one I'm going to want to watch a ton.
Further along down the line, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
65.
All right. 65 is Death Machine.
Okay.
I honestly thought this one was going to go higher on my list. This is kind of where it ended up, and the one right above it ended up there as well. I don't really have a great reason for it, other than the fact that it was just kind of middle of the road for me, as far as like the rest of the films, and that's almost where we are now, is the middle of the road. So, I mean, I thought, Brad Dourif was fantastic in it. I love the monster, even though somebody, I'm not going to name names, said it was nothing but a glorified, what the fuck was it? Xenophobe or something. They don't know what he's talking about, but whatever. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Really did. Really fun movie. Second time I'd seen it, and I liked it more than I did the first time. So, what about you, Joe?
65 for me is Stir of Echoes. Liked it a lot. Like you said, I like the whole community kind of storyline of it, because it's a thing of the past.
Yeah.
See people, playing in the streets together and just hanging out, and
Yep.
that. Again, it's just more, I think, along the lines of genre for me. It's not a typical genre that I'm like running to the theater to see. Like, oh, I got to see this movie. Even though I did see it in theaters, it's just not one.
That's right, you did. I remember you telling me that. That's right.
It's not one that, like, if I were to see the trailer for it now, I need to go see this in theaters.
Right.
It's just, again, it's not typically the genre that I run to, but I do like it a lot. I like Kevin Bacon in it, and it had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
64.
64 is basically the same thing I just said about Death Machine, and it was around the same time that we watched it, and it's going to be Event Horizon. And I think what holds this movie back for me, and I can't unknow what I know now, so what holds it back for me is the fact that they never released the more extreme cut of the film. And it pisses me off. I'm not going to lie, it pisses me off, but judging the film by itself, I like it. And I like it a little bit more every time I watch it, but it's not top 10 material. It's not top 20, not top 30 for me. It's where it fell.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
It just fucking pisses me off because Scream Factory released it. Not to go on and on about it, but they should have put the fucking whole movie in there. I just don't understand it. I know.
64 for me is Death Machine.
Wow. Okay.
I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun with it. It's very 90s.
Yep.
Love Brad Dourif. It just really is. It's like a steampunk kind of like 90s film.
Yep.
Really, really enjoyed it. It's, that sci-fi horror, which, once again, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's not something like sci-fi horror has to be really good for me to really enjoy and want to see again.
Yeah.
Event Horizon and Death Machine both do have that going for it, because they are two movies that I do like.
Yep.
Event Horizon is a movie I've seen a bunch of times, but Death Machine is not one that I had seen often, and I think this was only maybe my second time watching it, and
right.
I really, really liked it. I mean, so much so that I would love to see the other cuts of the film at some point, because
we're going to need to find that. I think we can try.
I have one of them. I'm going to send you a copy.
Oh, okay, cool.
But there are like 4 different versions of the film, so
yeah. I mean, I'm up for it. Whatever we can find when we can find it.
Yeah. So that's 64 for me.
Yeah.
63.
63 used to be a lot higher, but it ended up as 63 because of the other movies that we ended up watching in the meantime. And that's The Devil's Backbone. I would say you have Pan's Labyrinth, Kronos, Crimson Peak. I don't know. I'm probably forgetting other movies that he did. Or The Shape of Water. The Devil's Backbone is dead last for me as far as his films. Okay. But and just like you said, I'm not as not as up for watching ghost stories as maybe slasher movies or monster movies or other types of films. It's not a go-to for me. But with that being said, the first time I watched Devil's Backbone, I did not like it. So when I watched it with you, which was my second watch, I appreciated it a lot more. So, and I think that's because I've seen a lot of his movies. I saw Devil's Backbone a while ago, and I've seen a lot of his movies since then. Like I've seen Chronos since then.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen The Shape of Water. I've seen Crimson Peak.
Yeah.
And that made me appreciate where he came from.
Shape of Water is my favorite, by the way.
Oh, yeah, mine too. No doubt in my mind.
Yep.
No doubt. It's not even close.
Yep. 63 for me is Event Horizon.
I thought that was going to be a lot higher on yours.
I thought it would too. I don't know. It's like I said, for me, I've always seen it as Hellraiser in space.
Yes.
And I
I agree with that.
That really is how I see it. I love Event Horizon, and I even think it's paced pretty well too for a movie that's not
agree.
a long movie, but I do feel like it's pretty well paced. I think the only thing that really drops it down again is the whole sci-fi horror subgenre thing. You know, there are movies that I rather watch before I watch Event Horizon again. We saved this one for the end just because it's one that I've seen. You know, I know it's one that we had both seen fairly often, and
it's a movie that is more popular than a lot of the other films on the.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's grown in stature.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree with that. Obviously, because I have it one from yours.
Yeah. 62.
62 is From Beyond.
Okay.
And this is kind of the same thing. I love Stuart Gordon. I love Stuart Gordon, and I'll say it again. I love Stuart Gordon. And there were 3 of his movies on there, if I remember correctly. There's Castle Freak, Dolls, and From Beyond. Were they the only 3?
Maybe, yeah.
This is at the bottom for me. I think the special effects are
wow.
Yeah, my wife just said it. Wow.
Yeah.
Not that, sorry.
I know. But that's kind of the way I feel about it. You kind of hit it on the head. I think the special effects are great. I think they're ahead of their time. Stuart Gordon knows how to direct a movie. There's just, it's just amazing. But it fell at 62 for me because it's never been one that I would put on. I would put on Dolls. I would put on Castle Freak. I would put on Pit and the Pendulum before I would put on From Beyond.
Wow. Okay.
It's just where it kind of falls for me.
Yeah. 62 is The Devil's Backbone.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh my God.
I think that's like 3 in a row that I have like one space just above yours, right?
Yep.
Death Machine, then Event Horizon.
And we actually, for those of you who are here now, we did not discuss this ahead of time.
That's funny. Devil's Backbone. I remember we were dreading this one. I remember we were going to watch it one night and then we decided against it. We were like, fuck this, let's watch something else. Remember?
Yeah.
We, when we literally kept putting it off because it was
yeah, we did.
And then when we watched it, I remember we were both like, what the hell is wrong with us? This is a really good movie.
Yeah.
But again, it's not going to be a go-to for me. It's kind of long. It's a movie you have to pay attention to because it's subtitles and, they speak fast. I mean, it's not like something you can kind of sit back. There's a good amount of dialogue in it. And you need the dialogue to really know what's going on in that type of movie. There are some movies you don't, some movies you do, and this is one that you do.
Yeah, you definitely do because there's a lot of history involved.
Yeah, you'll miss the entire history of everything going on.
Yep.
So, I mean, I really did enjoy it. I'm glad that this challenge forced me to watch it. I'm glad I own it, but it's at 62.
Yeah, and I'll watch it again. I mean, it won't be. It probably won't be anytime soon, but I'll watch it again.
All right.
61 for me is The Sect. Now, you know me. I love Michele Suave's movies. I believe that's the way to pronounce it. I like everything he has done. I don't understand what got him out of making movies and into television. Maybe it's the money, whatever. But I love the man's movies. I think all four of them are brilliant. The Sect, the Sect and the Church are ones that would come in like maybe 3 and 4 for me, although they might reverse. I mean, of course, I like Cemetery Man better. I like Stage Fright is my absolute favorite. But the Sect. Yeah, the Church is last for me. The Sect is a really good movie, and that one took a couple watches for me to really grasp onto it, and that's why I think you're going to like it a lot better the second time. What's your 61, Joe?
61 for me is Horror Express.
Wow, big difference.
Yeah, I just really dig that movie. I think it's.
I do too.
I love the setting, first of all, on the train, and
yep.
I like that. It's pretty much it's like a prehistoric slasher film.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, I like the cast, obviously.
I never looked at it that way, but you're right. It is like a prehistoric slasher film.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And again, I keep talking about subgenres and stuff, and that's my subgenre right there. I mean, it ultimately is a slasher, and I feel like it's almost never really looked at as such, but it really is when you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with it.
It's another slasher on a train. I have it right next to my copy of Terror Train on my VHS shelf.
Yeah, there you go.
Horror Express, Terror Train.
And then the Night Train Murders for the third one. Yeah. Which, by the way, is a Christmas movie. I don't know if you have it, but
I don't. But I need to.
Yeah, it's a good one. Maybe I'll do that this year too. Yes. Yeah.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're already at number 60.
I don't know. I just want to tell you something, but I should probably wait.
Why?
Apparently, Timmy has prostate cancer. Baron.
Really?
And it's spread, but it's into the pelvic area, so it hasn't gone into the organs. But they took like 12 biopsies and then we're all positive.
Ooh. Okay.
Your PSA, I guess, is supposed to be like 4 or something.
Right.
His is up to 58.
How long has this been going on?
She said a couple of weeks ago, but when she's saying this happened, it's been like a month and a half.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
To let my daughter in there because she doesn't want it to upset my mom.
Okay. All right. Another wonderful year. Okay. Number 60.
Yep.
Is Luther the Geek.
Okay.
I just think it's great. I have so much fun with it. I like the fact that it's not only a slasher movie, but it's also like a home invasion film.
Yeah.
And the fact that he balks like a chicken is just, it's priceless for me. It really is. It is priceless.
Number 60 for me is From Beyond.
Ooh, hey, wait a minute. Son of a bitch. Okay.
Pretty close, yeah.
No.
From Beyond. I feel like it is weird. Almost like the opposite of how I normally feel about movies. I feel like it's a little rushed. I feel like it starts. Yeah, like I feel like it starts really fast, which is cool. I mean, I want movies to start fast, but I feel like it really jumps into everything. Like I don't know. I just feel like it. I guess it's a good thing. It kind of flies by, but I feel like it's almost missing something. Like there's not a whole lot to the story. It's like this is what went wrong. I'm getting blamed for it. Now we need to recreate this, and then that's really it. Like this. Right. There's not a whole lot of depth to it. And I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's based on like a short story, so there's only so much they could really do. And
yeah, I mean, I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, you're right.
It almost feels like that. It feels like I feel like it belongs as like a Tales from the Crypt episode, or like almost like a longer segment in a horror anthology film. It doesn't feel like it needs to be a feature length film.
Yeah.
I love the gore. I love the effects. You know, I love.
Well, they're so ahead of their time,
Bobber
in my
Cramp and
opinion.
everything. I love a lot about it, but I do. I picture it as more of like a Tales from the Crypt episode or something.
You know, I could kind of see that. Yeah, I can see that.
We're into the 50s, number 59.
59 is Cemetery Man.
Right.
Now, as I said before, Michele Soavi, I think he's a fabulous director. Mm-hmm. But my least favorite and my favorite aren't ones that we were working on. So it was nice to be able to use them as recommendations. And this, it falls, I guess this is in second place. This and the Sect are tough. They could probably flip-flop at any time. But the reason why it's at 59 is maybe it's a little too wacky. But I'm going to tell you this, and you know this as well as I do, it's got the best boobs in the fucking business.
Yes, it does.
So, yes. She's just fucking
There is no question.
Yes. Indeed. Oh, my God.
59 for me is one that's going to be very high for you.
Uh-oh.
And that is Opera.
Damn.
I don't know. What can I say? I'm more of a Suspiria fan.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I do. I get that.
I think Opera could have been cut down a little bit.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
One of those movies where I can't really pinpoint exactly what I would have cut, but
yeah,
maybe it's like what is it, like the bird in the theater or whatever? That whole scene.
That was like state-of-the-art filming for the time.
I wouldn't say I'd cut the whole scene. I'm just saying it goes on a little bit long. I think
it does. Yes, it does. I'm with you on that.
I think certain things like that is what holds it back for me. So I'm gonna compare it 59 and 58.
58 for me is Day of the Dead. Okay. I really like Day of the Dead. It's still, and I've said this before, this is my least favorite of the original trilogy. But with that being said, I mean, Dawn of the Dead is one of my favorite movies of all time. Yep. Night of the Living Dead, even though it probably won't show, maybe, depending on where the ranking is for the next movies. I love it. I think it's great. Day of the Dead, rather. While I think they upped it with the special effects, I think that the story just kind of isn't as... It feels like it's missing something. Okay. It's always felt like it was missing something for me. I don't mind the contained being underground. I don't mind it. Mm-hmm. I think the zombies are done, like I said, a lot better. The gore is a lot better. Yep. But maybe it's the characters, too. I just don't feel for them the way I felt for the characters in Dawn and Night.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think that's where it hurts the film for me. So, yeah, that's where it's at. What's your 58?
Day of the Dead.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Wow.
I've never really connected with it how I do with Dawn and even Night. Again, this is another one that's a favorite of my mom. My mom loves Day of the Dead. Her favorite is Dawn, but she loves Day as well. Yeah. And I don't know. It's weird. It's like I love the bunker setting, but at the same time, I feel like it really limits it. Yeah. Especially coming off of Dawn of the Dead, where it's a single setting basically in the mall, but it's a mall, so there's everything. You know, you get the pop store. Open. Yeah. You have the arcade and the fountain and everything else. All this great stuff in the mall, and then you really shut everybody into this small location, and there's only so much you can do. Yeah. And much of it is almost like bare walls and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's not like a lot. It's not a lot to really to look at there. And it's another one that maybe goes on a little bit longer than it needs to because of the limitations of the setting.
I agree.
And that's why I almost wish I could put Day of the Dead higher, because I feel like I like it more than this list represents. But
there's a lot of good movies on this challenge. Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. I completely get it.
Okay, 57.
57 for me is Dead Kids or Strange Behavior.
Okay.
And what gets it for me is I've always loved disturbing behavior.
Yep.
This is the original to the remake.
Yep.
And I like the slasher element. I like the tour mask. I don't know. I just think it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. Maybe a little goofy, but it's still fun. What's your 57?
57 for me is The Ninth Gate. This is one that dropped a little bit for me. I remember this is another one we kind of put off because it was like the longest movie on the list.
Yeah.
And putting it off, and I remember watching it, and I remember saying to you, I think this is going to rank a lot higher than I anticipated because it's a really good fucking movie.
Yeah, it is.
But it's just long.
Yeah.
And I will say that despite being long, it's really well paced. I didn't feel like I was bored at all watching it. But because of its length, it's not one that I'm going to watch a lot, unfortunately, because it's so long. And there are a lot of great movies like that. I mean, we were talking about this with like something like The Deer Hunter. And no matter how it makes you feel, I mean, it's this great film, but who's going to spend 3 hours watching the film over and over and over again? There's certain films that you're just not going to, I can almost watch 2 movies in the time it would take me to watch, The Ninth Gate again. So it's
absolutely. I agree with that.
For that, and that's why I have it at 57.
All right.
56.
56 is Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. Now, this is how I figured this one out. I like it more than Day of the Dead. I like it more than Dead Kids. So that's where it went. Okay. And I like it less than the next one up. Okay, when we started watching Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, you remember how much I like it, right? Mm-hmm. And I told you I really liked this one. I started to wonder why at first. But then when the movie started going on, I'm like, I fucking love this movie. And it's just, I don't know. It's just the fact that it took what everybody else did, and you have to take under consideration that this was not the first, but it's one of the first of that subgenre.
Yeah.
So they took what everyone else did and kept doing, but they did something different with it.
Yeah.
So that's what why it means so much to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. 56 for you.
Kronos.
We ain't too far away on that. We haven't been too far away on any of them except for like 1 or 2.
I'm going with Kronos here. This is one I liked a lot more this time. Not that I didn't like it the first time I had seen it, but I really connected with it more this time around.
Same.
It's not really anything against the movie. I think we're getting into the point now where things are going to be really tight. It's like, I really can't put this one lower, so that means I really can't put this one higher. We're just getting to that point, and we're only at 56. We're not even at the halfway point, but it's still we're already at that point where I'm struggling to. I was struggling to rank a lot of these.
Yeah, because you and me both.
It was like a matter of a spot here, a spot there, and there's only so much wiggle room I had. So I'm gonna go with.
I completely agree.
Number 55.
55 was The Unearthing.
Okay.
Simply because I didn't like it more than the rest of them. But I liked it more than the other ones. And I think that with the money that they put into that film, they worked miracles. Mm-hmm. The special effects were brilliant. I really like the fact that it's a different kind of horror film. And it's a different kind of vampire film. And if you can do something different with either zombies or vampires, I'm all in. So that's kind of why it ranked 55 rather than a lot lower.
Okay. So 55 for me is The Beyond. I had Beyond higher at one point. I had it lower at one point. It kind of jumped around. I don't really know what to say. I mean, I love The Beyond. I think it's one of those movies, like if I were to watch it right now, I'd rank it higher. I don't think it would drop in my ranking.
Beyond used to be 58 for me, but it went a lot higher.
But
so I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
it's one of those movies, but it's also one of the earlier ones we watched. And
Yes.
I think it's been such a while since we watched it that now I feel like, okay, I'm comfortable with it here at 55. But I truly do feel like if we were to watch it right now, I'd be like, okay, it needs to be higher.
It's got some goofy shit in it too, though. I mean,
It
just
does.
shit that doesn't make any sense
It
at
does,
all.
but I feel like for some reason it works for that movie. Like I
It
really
does.
dig it. You know,
It does. That's what I like about Italian movies is that they'll throw everything in there. They don't give a shit, and there's no explanation, and they don't feel like they owe you one either. Fuck
exactly.
it, and I love it. I fucking love it.
54.
They're trying to make a movie to entertain you.
There you go. That's all that I asked for.
Huh?
That's all I asked for.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they're trying to do.
John asked, Joe, why does Jay hate vampire movies?
Oh, no, I don't hate vampire movies. I feel like those
Thanks, John.
and zombie movies are kind of a tired subgenre that people latch onto.
Yeah,
I like what I like, but I like it when someone can do something a little different with that subgenre. Usually when that happens, I'm there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
What do you got for 54?
54 is one that I don't necessarily agree with where I put it, but I didn't know where else to put it.
Okay.
And that's Mute Witness.
Okay.
Mute Witness had a pretty big effect on me being a slasher.
This is interesting, but I'll explain why when we get to it. So go on.
But I think the fact, and if I remember correctly, there were some subtitles in it.
Not many.
Yeah, there weren't many.
A couple of the characters.
But I have a feeling that might have been why I put it so low.
Okay.
I don't mind subtitles. What I don't like is inconsistency. That bothers me in a film.
I'm surprised you have it here just because we had it at our number one when there were certain movies that haven't come yet. So
Yeah.
you definitely changed it from something before.
It was higher. It was around the 16 to 18 area. But there are so many movies that we watched after that I just loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
54, I have The Unearthing.
Wow.
This one I was expecting you to have higher because I remember how much you dug it when we watched.
Mute Witness?
No, The Unearthing. I remember.
I do. I love it.
I remember.
do.
I'm surprised. I really thought you were going to have this one higher than I have it. But I mean, what I have. What you had it for? What 55?
Yeah, I had a 55.
Yeah. So I mean, it's only one spot higher than you, but I'm surprised. Yeah, this one really, really, really stuck with me, and I was not expecting it to be what it is. I was not expecting to have the tone that it had.
Me neither.
I had like some strange vibes from it. I think my relatable recommendation was TCM4, which it seems odd until you watch it, and then you're like, shit, I get it. I mean, there's like
Weird Family. Yeah.
yes, I enjoyed it a lot. That weird long tongue and
That was just weird.
crazy.
But I like that. Like I said, if you can do something different with a vampire theme, I'm all in.
See, there you go, John. That was a good vampire film. You know?
What?
Because he was asking about vampire films. I said that's one that was done right.
Yeah. Aswang or The Unearthing. If you get a chance, John, check that out. I think you'll like it.
All right, we are on 53.
53, and I don't really need to go to the bathroom if you want to just keep going until we need to stop. Okay. All right, 53 is Deep Rising for me. I had a blast watching this with you. I hadn't seen this for so many years. I think the monster movie was just fun. I like the atmosphere on the ship. I like the action adventure part of it. I forgot how much it was less of a creature feature and more of an action adventure movie than it was. And being as I probably hadn't seen it since it first came out on home video, it kind of blew my socks off. I liked it a lot. Yeah, I had a great time watching that with you.
53 for me is Night of the Comet. I think I would. Okay. This is one that could definitely be higher, but I think the appeal of Night of the Comet is almost like the setting and just like
Nostalgia.
the vibe, the nostalgic vibe of it.
Yep.
Because not a whole lot really happens. I mean,
No, you're right about that. I do like the premise of how they turned into dust.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I like and I remember saying this in my review that I wasn't going to say how the other people survived, and I'm still not going to say it because I think it's one that you have to watch and kind of, it's so simple, but yet, I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so that's 53, Day of the Comet. 52.
52 for me was a huge jump. And I really loved this movie, and it was a first time watch for me.
Was it a jump down or up?
Oh, it jumped up a lot.
Okay.
And that's Jack B. Nimble.
Okay.
And I have a feeling that the more I watch this film, or Jack say listo, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the more I watch that movie, I am going to love it even more.
I'm sure because it's pretty high.
It's badass. It really is. It is a forgotten film, one that still deserves to be on that Fangoria list. And that's very sad because I think people are missing out on a really good movie.
Yeah.
What's your 52?
52 for me is Hell Night.
It's
a slasher. I love slashers. As we're
Interesting.
we're just getting to this point where it's like I really had no room to move around certain other movies for one reason or another.
Yeah, I get that.
It just sort of ended up here. It was higher, but again, not because I dropped it down, but because I moved other movies up or because we watched them after the fact.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Hell Night is at 52. It's never been one of my favorite slashers, but it's a slasher that I really like.
I love Hell Night. I always have.
I know you do. Yeah.
It's just I got a really soft spot for that movie. I don't know what it is.
For me, for some reason, it's not one that I rented a lot when I was younger. So
really, Christ, I rented that thing so many fucking times. Why.
So my nostalgia is more with other slasher films. It's one that I didn't see until I was a little bit older, and then I always liked it. It's not that I never liked it. It's just it was never one that I grew up watching.
You know how we always said we were waiting for Mrs. Voorhees to open her eyes?
Yeah.
I'm always waiting for her to be topless in it. And it never happens. And I'm like, God damn it. As many times as I've seen it. Maybe because she's wearing that, Yeah. All right.
51.
51 is A Bay of Blood or Twitch of the Death Nerve.
Okay.
And the only thing that hurts this movie, and this movie would probably be top 15, maybe top 10, is the convoluted storyline. That's the only thing that
I get it.
I'm going to be quite honest with you. The first time I watched it, it took me maybe two times to watch it to understand how everything played out.
Yeah.
Because it's just so fucking... This person wants to kill this person because of this. And this is related to this, but it also has something to do with this and that. And fuck that. It's just too much for me. So...
51 for me.
Great kills.
Okay. 51 for me is Dead of Night.
Interesting.
Also known as Lighthouse for some of you. Dead of Night. Wasn't a huge fan of this one. First time I watched it.
Me neither.
I don't think you were either. Yeah.
Nope.
This time, this is one of those movies that I think we both said, "What the hell were we thinking?" Like we watched it and we were like, "Wow, this is really good." And I love. I always said it's weird because I was about to say I love the night setting, and a lot of such films take place at night. But there was just something about the setting of the lighthouse, like on that island. It's dark, it's raining. The way you see the killer in the movie, is pretty unique. It has that stormy atmosphere, and it just really works. I dug this one so much more than the first. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what I was thinking the first time. I must have just not.
Me neither.
The right state of mind or something for it, because I think it's a really good movie. It's a shame that one doesn't get more attention either.
I was surprised where that ended up for me.
50 on number 50.
All right. And that's Manhunter. Manhunter for me was right in the middle of the road. I love the film. I like it better than Red Dragon. William Peterson is fantastic in it. I think the guy that plays Brian Cox, who plays
Hannibal
Lecter, is fantastic in it, and I think he gets a raw deal from people who don't think that he compares, and I think that that's wrong because he took the character and did something with it before anyone else did.
He was Hannibal Lecter before, exactly. He was first. I mean,
exactly. If anything, and I love Anthony Hopkins, but if anything, Anthony Hopkins took a little bit from his character.
He did.
So, yeah, and I really do believe that. And, you know, it's just such a really good mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I've seen it too many times, and I think that's why it's kind of middle of the road, because the first time you watch it, that movie is meant to blow you away.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. First time I watched it, I love that movie.
Yeah.
And it's good enough, like Scream, to hold up to additional watches. Just maybe not like it was the first time, if that makes any sense. Yeah. 50 for you.
50 for me is The Legend of Hellhouse.
Wow.
And yeah, I kind of, like I said, I talked about it earlier when you mentioned this is a movie that I wasn't a huge fan of the first time I watched it.
Right.
Again, watched it with my mom. My mom's a big fan of this one. She liked it a lot. We finished watching it, and she was like, "Wow, that was really good." And I was like, "Eh." But watched it with you, and after years, I mean, I hadn't seen it in years, and sometimes your tastes just change, or you just see things differently. And I really, really liked it. And again, like I said during the Changeling, I don't run to like haunted house films. Like,
right.
Sometimes they can be paced a little too slowly for me, and
right.
Or there's not enough going on. But I just like that. I like the characters. I like the way that the interaction of the characters in that film, and there's some bizarre shit in it, and I enjoyed it.
I think a lot of it had to do with you. I can see maturity being a factor in that.
Yeah.
Because, you and I were both kind of the same way. When I was younger and you were younger, we were kind of set in our ways and we liked certain things more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that kind of played into it a little bit. But yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
49.
49 for me is The Ninth Gate. While I do think it's too long, I do think it's one of Johnny Depp's better performances that I've seen. And less glorified than the other.
Hell of a lot better than Amber Heard's in Court.
Yeah, you got that right. But I do think it's one of his better underrated performances.
Yeah.
A lot less glorified, of course, because of the stuff that he did later. Mm-hmm. And it seems like Johnny Depp was a real human being back then.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah, it is. It is really good. It's told really well. And even though Roman Polanski's a piece of shit, he could tell a fucking story.
He's got the talent.
Yeah, some people are just meant to. We've talked about this before. Some people are meant to do it, and he's meant to do it. I honestly believe that. What's your 49?
49 for me is Hardware, the very first movie we watched for the Fangoria Challenge.
Oh, okay.
Thought it was great. I'm glad we started with it. I think it was a great start to the challenge. It just
me too.
Sort of movie where it's like people maybe have heard of it, but maybe they didn't see it. That sort of thing. It was kind of hard to get, because every edition of it was out of print.
Yep.
Really good movie. It's a Christmas movie. It's a very odd
robot slasher too.
It's a robot slasher set on Christmas Eve in a post-apocalyptic future. It's really cool. I mean, you can't really list a lot of other movies give a lot of other movies that description. I love the setting of it in the apartment. I love the creepy guys.
Yeah, I did too. I didn't like him when the first time I watched it. I actually didn't like Hardware the first time I watched it, but I don't think I was ready to see something like that either.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. 49. On to 48.
48 is Chronos for me. Chronos hit me a little harder than it would have, I think, than it did the first time. I liked it the first time, but I liked it a hell of a lot more when I watched it with you. And put it over top of the Devil's Backbone.
Yeah. You there? Technical difficulties. All right. If anybody's still watching, I guess Jason's having some technical difficulties. Throws up a little bit, so hopefully he can come back in a second. We can continue our ranking. Yeah, John, I agree. If vampire movies are done correctly, I definitely like them. I know what Jason was saying, but it gets, there's a lot of vampire movies, a lot of zombie movies. I mean, I guess there's a lot of slashers too. But if any of them are done right, I'm all in. Jason just messaged me. He's trying to get back on now, so just give him a second, and we will continue this. The joys of the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Hey.
I don't know what the fuck happened. It said that the site couldn't be reached and this, that, and the other thing.
All right. All right, back to 48. What was 48 now?
48 was Chronos.
Okay, Chronos. All right. You got cut off while you were saying it, so continue.
Yeah. What were my thoughts on Chronos? Oh, I think his movies need to have somebody like Ron Perlman. It's just like in The Shape of Water, they have the villain. What's his name? God, why can't I never think of his
Michael
name?
Shannon?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think his movies benefit from that.
Yeah.
So, all right, 48, Joe.
48 for me is Mute Witness. So
Okay.
I was saying earlier, it's funny because you and I both had Mute Witness above Hardware for like the longest time.
Yes.
And so I'm saying it's funny that you haven't mentioned Hardware yet, but you went through Mute Witness. For me, it's funny. These two have been literally on top, right next to each other the entire friggin' challenge. Like the Mute Witness, Hardware the entire time. And Mute Witness, I love. I think it's one of those movies that definitely belongs on this list.
Yep.
One of the movies that actually got a DVD release that belongs on this list, because it's like even with the DVD release, it seems like nobody even saw the movie or even knows what it is or anything about it. And I love the whole, the movie set location, and the whole fact that she can't speak. You witness something and you can't say anything about it, but yet now they're coming after you because they're afraid you're going to. So she's also pretty cute too, so that helps.
Yeah, definitely. So
she's a cute witness.
I told you that the flea market, after we watched it, I pulled it out of his stock and gave it to him, told him to take it home and watch it.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him recently, so I don't know if he ever did, but that's how much I like that movie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
All right, 47.
47 is The Changeling for me. And yes, I agree with everything you said about it being long, and the pacing is a little bit of an issue. But with me, and even though ghost stories aren't my go-to either, it does have a few really frightening, genuinely frightening parts.
Yeah.
And the house is just amazing to me. And I think that's why it ranks a little higher. It's something I am more likely to revisit, although not very often.
Yeah.
But I have rewatched it just because I've gotten a craving to watch it. So, yeah. What's your 47?
47 for me is The Other.
Ooh, okay.
This was a first time watch, I think, for both of us.
Yes, it was.
And I remember we were really kind of blown away by it when we first watched it.
Yep.
Really hitting all the right places.
Mine is very close to yours.
Really good movie. Again, we're in just that. Like I said, when we get to the 40s, it's really, really tough to make these movies. And this was a lot higher through most of the challenge until I really started finalizing some things, and we started watching some others that we hadn't seen. That we watched after this. This was fairly early on too when we watched The Other. It wasn't like
we did.
It wasn't later in the challenge. So for a long time, it was pretty high. We just happened to watch a lot more movies after the fact that I had to rank higher.
Yeah. And that's the reason for my 46 leading up to that is a movie that I really like. It's called Paper House.
Okay.
I had this ranked a lot higher, and I think it was because we saw so many other movies that I personally like better, but also some really good first-time watches. Yeah. Paper House I had seen before. I liked it a lot better than I did the first time. But it is a fantastic movie, and I really think that it has something that not a lot of other horror movies offer. And that is, it's artsy, but it has a way to identify with it, no matter who you are.
I agree, yeah.
We all have nightmares. We all have misconceptions about the truth. We all have memories of our childhood that we're fond of, that we hang on to. And I think that's what Paper House. I think Paper House is an important movie. And I don't think it still doesn't get talked about, which is really frustrating.
Oh, it would help if they released it over there.
Yeah, you would think, right? What's your 46?
Twitch of the Death Nerve or Bay of Blood.
I'm surprised I had this lower.
Really, for the same reasons as you. I mean, it's very convoluted. Love the kills.
Yeah.
Love the fact that it's it inspired the slasher film how we know it today. I love the setting. I really do. I love it as a slasher film. It's fantastic. It's just, again, we're in this spot where it's like I can't see really ranking it any higher because of the convoluted plot lines.
Yep.
It's not, Friday the 13th Part 2. Again, you can put that on in the background. You can come back 10 minutes later and you know what's going on.
Yeah.
To the Death Nerve, you can't do that.
Nope.
It's like, who's this? Why is he here? Who are these characters now?
Yep.
Why are they? So that's the problem with that. So because of that, it's at 46.
I get it. I definitely get it.
45.
45 is the Night Flyer. This was a tough one for me because I've always liked the Night Flyer.
Hey, Brad.
Again, Mr. John, it was a vampire movie that did a little something different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on Stephen King. Is it a short story, Joe?
Yeah.
And I really like it. It's surreal at parts. It's very bloody. And it's one that deserves a lot more credit than it gets. Hey, Brad.
I agree.
Yeah, me too. I just got kicked off a little while ago. What's your 45?
45 for me is Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Really? That high? Wow.
Yeah, I really like it. I do agree that it should be shorter.
Yeah.
Just a bit. Like you, I don't feel like it's overly long. It could have been cut down. I mean, it's like right now it's like an hour and say 54 minutes or something.
Yeah.
I feel like it could be even if an hour and 45. And I feel like it doesn't have to be cut down that much, but just a smidge here and there.
Yeah.
I think I said this in both my reviews because we reviewed it for Fangoria Challenge, and you're going to see my review eventually for Terror in the Isles Challenge when we do it again.
Right.
I actually find this to be a truly fucking scary movie because conspiracy shit creeps me out. It's not even so much the alien thing, the whole pods. It's the fact that you don't know who you can trust, and even when they're trying to inject them with the needles and stuff, he's like, "You're killing us. What are you doing? Like what?
Yeah.
It's like who do you turn to? Who do you run to for safety?
You can't. There's no one. Yep.
You're just screwed. You're just absolutely screwed. Yep. And I feel like this movie really does a great job of emphasizing that. And I love the effects. I always appreciate PG horror that gives us some nudity.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
It's a great cast. And you know what? For a longer movie, I feel like it starts like immediately, which I like.
Yeah, it does.
It like right off the bat. I mean, she brings home the flower, and boom, the next day he's starting to act strange. So it's
and there is an explanation.
Yeah.
They do give you an explanation. It's not overly drawn out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I am a much bigger fan of this movie now than I was when I was younger.
You need to see The Invasion. You really do. I think you'll like it.
Definitely. 44.
44 for me was the other. This one I had a lot higher, but it ended up being at number 44 because I had to look at the movies and my enjoyment and my replayability of them. Mm-hmm. I will watch the other. It's going to be a while because I want to have that surprise again, even though we both knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Fairly early in the film, but they do a halfway decent job at kind of making it seem like it's something else.
Mm-hmm.
Where Good Night Mommy, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
So. Good Night Mommy.
Yeah.
Good Night Mommy. Daddy's gonna kill you.
No. So yeah, that's my 44. The other. What's yours?
44 is The Night Flyer. I think it's incredibly underrated.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame that it hasn't been re-released yet in any form. Like, what's going on? Why is there no Blu-ray? Why is there no special edition? Something. like what is going on. Really, really good mixed genre film, I like to call it, because if someone hasn't seen it, I don't like to give away what exactly it is. I mean,
Right.
it kind of gives it away from the cover and the poster, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The movie kind of pretends to be one thing and then it's not, and then it becomes something
Right.
else.
Right.
I really like that because it actually is both things because of the way formula that it follows. It's, I mean, you know, like I said, it gives it away anyway, but it's basically a vampire slasher film, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like just the way he kills people, and
Absolutely.
he looks amazing. I love the
Yeah, he does.
He's genuinely creepy. I love the Night Flyer. I wish this one could be higher too.
Yeah, me too.
44.
That goddamn couch.
43. Is that what you're in?
42 or 43 rather is that goddamn couch.
Sisters, huh?
Yep, that one took the biggest. That one was the only movie that benefited from another watch. That was actually, just so that you understand kind of where I'm coming from. Thanks, son. That one was actually at around the 86 area.
Wow.
And then it dropped down to the number 97 area. And when I thought about it a little bit more, it went back up to where it was around 86, between 80 and 86. And then when I watched it a second time, I was just blown away. Hot and cold with that movie, though. But right now, it is at number 43, that goddamn couch.
Okay.
You're 43.
43 for me is Alice, Sweet Alice.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
I thought it would be a little higher, but it's a movie I've seen quite a few times. I mean, it's one that I've watched a good amount of times. I love the surreal feel of the whole movie, like with the way the soundtrack is, the music and the setting, and just the way it's filmed. It's like this. You almost feel like you're in a dream when you're watching it. I love the mask. I love the little twist. I love the really gross guy, the guy in the apartment.
Yes.
I love that it's a religious slasher film.
Yep.
There's so much to love about Alice, Sweet Alice. It's just that I love the other movies just more.
Yeah, which is where my 42 is going to lie. Kind of a good segue into 42.
Okay. What is
The Blob.
Okay.
I love The Blob. I like it a lot more since I watched it with you. I've always liked it. Like I said, everybody else left the room. I could not leave the room. Yeah. My band took off on me, but I stayed there and watched that fucking movie because it's awesome. And I think I got a new appreciation watching it with you because I know it's one of your favorite remakes.
It is my favorite remake.
Yeah. It's just a really solid movie. And I like
it's so
one
much.
of the things I like about it is the government deception.
Yeah.
Usually in movies, they didn't bring that kind of stuff in until way later.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're supposed to trust the government.
Yeah.
There are movies that did it, but most of them, you're supposed to trust the government. Mm-hmm. Not in that movie. And once you find that out, you're like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
What the fuck? And I'd like that it took it in a different direction.
Yep.
So, yeah. Good remake. One of the better ones. And it's so fucking gory, man. The special effects are amazing. And I'll stop talking about it now because we're going to be here for a while. But I do love that movie. It's fucking solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
42 for me is another one of those movies that I really didn't know how to place it. I know this is one that you really like. This was a first time watch for me. And I know it's one that this is probably the number one movie that I want to revisit like soonest. And that is Dead Waters.
I knew it. I was like looking at it. I was like, what could he be talking about?
I said, it was a first time watch. I really liked it. I didn't really know what to expect with it. I didn't know much about what it was about.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's another one that's very memorable for me. It's kind of stuck with me ever since I watched it. Sort of like the Unearthing, like it's imagery and stuff in it, and yeah, it's a movie movie that you can almost smell. Like it smells musty watching the movie.
Yep.
Like that, you know, it's like that, like the wet rocks and everything else and the caves, and it's just definitely one that I want to revisit soon. I enjoy it a lot. I just, because it's the first time watch, I can't see putting it any higher than here. But I would almost guarantee that upon another watch or two, I'd probably have it even higher. What do you got for 41?
You know what? In saying what you were just saying, as I'm writing back to Brad, I think he was talking about The Blob. That would be top 20 for him.
I thought he was talking about Alice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he might be right about that. Dark Water would have probably landed when I watched it with Nick for the first time, right about where you have it.
Okay.
It went way up for me. I just have a really big appreciation for that movie. Anyway, my number,
too.
Yeah, my number 41 is Lighthouse or Dead of Night.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't know what the fuck we were thinking the first time we watched it. Because we both had the same kind of, I don't know why I didn't like it.
It was like a revelation. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. And then I'm watching it, and it's just a really, really fucking solid slasher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost ashamed that I didn't feel that way the first time I watched it.
I feel the same way.
Yeah. It just blew me away. I love the atmosphere. I love the lighthouse. I just like, I don't know, something about movies on lighthouses. I'm like completely hooked now on those types of films. But so what do you got for 41?
Castle Freak.
That low?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's another one that was pretty high, but upon like kind of rearranging some things, and I think this one suffers from me seeing it so much, maybe. and if that makes sense. And there are others on the list that I've seen even more, but for some reason it's like this is one that it's easier to have a certain appreciation for certain movies that you've only seen once or twice, or that now you really like it a lot more. Whereas Castle Freak is sort of just like a almost like a staple for me, but it doesn't have the nostalgia factor either. It's not one that I watched when I was super young, obviously, coming out in 95 or 96.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch it until later on. But I mean, I love Castle Freak. I mean, there's no other way of saying it. I really do love Castle Freak. It's just the movies above this either have some sort of nostalgic connection to me, or it blew me away because they were a first time watch that blew me away, or whatever, or just really stuck with me more than say Castle Freak does.
Yeah. I get that. I mean, I understand.
All right, number 40.
Number 40. Yeah, he said Alice, Sweet Alice. Yeah. Let's see. Pretty close, Brad. You and I are pretty close. Let's see. Number 40 is Cherry Falls.
Okay.
Cherry Falls, I thought would have been a lot higher for me because I really liked the movie. And I'm going to admit something that kind of irritated me and maybe had an effect on the movie for me. That is one of the lowest viewed, and I don't really care about views that much, but that is one of the lowest viewed Fangoria Challenge movies that I have on the list.
It's one of my highest. Really?
It pisses me off. One of my my highest is fucking Wisdom of Crocodiles. It's just 400, Joe.
Jeez.
I don't fucking know. So, it kind of pissed me off that nobody wanted to hear about Cherry Falls. I mean, it's a movie that is more popular now, of course, because it's gotten a Scream Factory release, but I just find it to be still very underrated.
Yeah, and obviously I'll talk about it more when I get to it. I haven't come to that one yet. But yeah, I definitely think so as well. My number 40 is Cemetery Man.
Wow.
Love Cemetery Man. I think it's fucking awesome. Best hits in cinema history.
Hell yes.
And I mean, that sums it up right there. But no, in addition to the best hits in cinema history, and I truly mean that. I really do think he might have the best hits in cinema history. The cemetery setting is really cool. I love anything.
It is.
In the cemetery location.
Yep.
I love that it's just wacky enough, but still works. Like it's not. I don't get like overly annoyed by the wackiness of it. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Cemetery Man, number 40. Number 39.
39 is a movie that I ranked it here. I'm sure nobody else will, although I haven't heard you say it yet. 39 for me is The Dentist.
Okay.
The Dentist is fucking wacky, but there's something about a maniac Corbin Burnson that just, I get it. I don't know. I love The Dentist too. I love The Russian Bride. I was watching Corbin Burnson today. I was watching him on Major League.
You don't have
something about that guy that just, I get it.
You don't have to convince me. I mean, honestly, The Dentist to me is one of the most rewatchable movies on the
list. Yes.
It's really, really fun. Just the way it's filmed, the way Brian Usna did it. I like Usna's style. You know,
I do too, except for on the one Silent Night, Deadly Night movie he did.
Yeah,
is my least favorite, but it's still watchable.
Yeah.
You're 39?
39 is, this was another first time watch for me. I fucking loved it. Ravenous.
Yeah.
Loved Ravenous. Fucking loved it. I did not expect the tone of that movie.
Yeah.
Like when the movie began and the music was on, I was like, wait, what? This is the music of this movie? Yes. And that literally set the tone, and it was almost like my mind didn't know how to process it. Like I was expecting one thing, and immediately I was hit with something else. That it was like before I knew it, I was like, "Holy shit, this is so much fun!" And
it's a brilliantly made film. It really is.
It was so much fun, and yeah, I had always heard really good things about it, and for some reason, I never watched it. I don't know why. I never took the time to sit and watch it, and I'm glad it was included in this challenge because it forced me to, and I loved it. Like I said, this is yet another one I wish I could have ranked higher, and probably would be ranked higher with more watches. I mean, I watched it once.
Yeah.
And it's already at 39, so. 38.
Hello, no. Anyway, 38 is Christmas Evil for me.
Hey, no, how you doing?
I think Christmas Evil is an amazing film. I think Christmas Evil says a lot about who you are as a person, and maybe that's an unfair statement, but I think that how you interpret the ending almost depends on what type of person you are.
Yep.
I really do believe that. I think the reason why you, me, and Brad, who's in the chat, are such big kids is because we feel like that there's a sense of magic in that film.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too.
Yeah, and for a movie that's basically taken seriously, it's about a guy who goes kind of insane, a likable guy as well, who goes insane and takes out a bunch of people. To have the ending be so divisive, I really do think it really says a lot about your character, how you feel about the ending. I could be wrong, but it just does for me. So, yeah, that's my number 38. I love Christmas Evil. I really do. I know Brad loves it too.
I do as well.
You do as well? Yep.
I do as well, and not only do I love it as well, but it's also my number 38.
Get the fuck out of here. Really?
So, it's just... I had this one a little bit higher as the challenge went on. And it's another one of those cases where I didn't necessarily drop this one. I just put others a bit higher than it. It's definitely one of my favorite Christmas horror movies. It's one that I feel like I need to watch every year. What I really appreciate about it too is some horror Christmas movies just feel like horror movies that happen to set around Christmas time. Yep. This movie feels like a Christmas movie.
Yep.
And
that they threw horror in.
Yes, with the music, the decorations, just the setting, the snowy set. You know what I mean? Like it feels like both a Christmas movie and a horror movie, as opposed to just a Christmas horror movie. And I like that about it. I appreciate that about the movie. It's
me too.
It fits in both genres really well.
Now YouTube just kicked me out. I will say I agree with you, Brad. Even though I want the Winnie the Pooh movie, I understand your hesitation on it, especially if it's something that you were quite fond of growing up. and something you've bonded with your kids over. Me, not so much. That would be Barney. That would be Sesame Street. Not so much Winnie the Pooh. But I get what you're saying.
All right, 37.
37 is The Stepfather.
Okay.
I love this movie. I love the remake. You will be looking for that pretty soon as well. But yeah, this movie is just. There are certain things in that film that I think they stay with you. I'll never forget the first time I watched it. My mom actually likes that film. I don't know why she likes it.
My mom does too.
Yeah, well, your mom likes horror. My mom doesn't. And I remember the first time I watched it, him cracking her across the face with that fucking phone. I was just like, wow. Yeah. It stays with you. I don't know. It's even something as simple as that. We've seen people strangled by phones. Mm-hmm. What, the other night, at the end of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there was a phone right there, and she ate that motherfucker.
Yep.
But I don't know, just the way he did it and the mean-spiritedness of it, just, it blew me away. And that whole fucking movie rocks. Wait, who am I now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My 37 is another Christmas movie, and that's Maniac Cop 2.
37, right?
Yep.
We're not too far on that.
Yep. Maniac Cop 2. I kind of had this one next to Christmas Evil, sort of back and forth, just randomly, because, you know, both Christmas horror movies. I prefer Maniac Cop 2 to... It's my favorite Maniac Cop movie out of all of them.
Mine too.
It always, you know, it just always has been.
Yep.
It's one that I forget how much I do like it until I'm watching it.
Me too.
I just have a blast with it.
And when I do watch it, I remember why it's my favorite out of the three.
No, that's one of Jason's favorite horror movies.
What's that?
Magic.
No. Definitely watch Magic if you get a chance. It's fantastic.
All right, we are on 36.
36 for me is Rabbit.
Wow.
The reason why it is so high for me is maybe the relevancy to way things are nowadays.
Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
It was almost chilling to watch it where I didn't have that effect. It didn't have that effect on me before.
Yeah, I agree.
And this was actually a movie that I watched not too long before you and I watched it, because I reviewed it with Nick, and we also did the remake, which you got to get, by the way. It's really good.
That's cool, Brad.
But I don't know. There's just something about it. I don't know. It is in the lower part of my David Cronenberg thing, which would tell you how much the others rank above it.
Exactly.
But it's really good, though. And I think Marilyn Chambers, every time I watch that movie, I get a new level of respect for her. Mm-hmm. Not only could she take a dick, but and she has some chops.
Yep.
She's got some chops, dude. And I think he's ballsy for putting her in there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, very nice, Brad. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I got to order that eventually, too. Hopefully it's not, like, limited. I mean, the other ones are still around, so. All right. You're 36.
My 36 is The Stepfather.
Again, yeah.
Pretty cool, yeah. Stepfather, yeah. Always liked it. I've always liked all of them, including Part 3, which a lot of people shit on.
I've never seen Part 3. I need to watch it. I have a DVR. I need to watch it.
Yeah. I love Terry O'Quinn.
Yes.
What's her face? The daughter, of course.
Oh my God. I you can't talk about that right now. I might have to leave.
You get that shower scene. It's
oh my goodness.
I like the setting. It's a genuinely creepy movie. I mean, it's a realistic sort of horror film, you know?
And it's also kind of like a movie, like a family movie for the most part.
It almost feels like it could be, minus the shower scene, like a made-for-TV thriller.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and then they smack you across the face with the fucking phone.
Yeah.
And it all goes to hell after that.
Exactly. All right, we are on 35.
Jeez.
35 is a movie that went up and down for me, and it's Hardware.
All right.
Hardware started out very high for me, and then it went down to like around in the 60s.
It was number 1 for me at one point.
Yeah, it was
Like
for me too.
When we started.
But you know what this movie, it had an effect on me when I watched it, because I did not like it the first time I watched it years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it again, and when I watched it with you, you asked me what I was doing the next day, and I was watching it again. And you asked me what I was doing, and I was watching it again after that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so fucking good. It's so good. Did we watch it with Brad? I think we did, didn't we?
No, I don't think so. We wanted to. I don't know why we didn't.
I think I sent him a copy of it.
Yeah, I know you sent them one. I don't think
we gotta watch that, Brad. If you're still there, we gotta watch that one sometime.
Honestly, we could watch it around Christmas time if we wanted to.
Yeah,
because it is a Christmas horror movie.
Yeah, it is. You're 35.
Alexa,
my
35
is Manhunter.
Is that 10:50 in the morning or in the evening? It's in the evening.
Fucking Alexa.
Second. What? What happened?
I don't know.
I killed her.
You killed, yeah. So your 35 is Manhunter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love Manhunter. As you know, I prefer it to pretty much all of them. I think it's
as do I.
There are, I think it may be my favorite Hannibal Lecter film. I know that's blasphemy for a lot of people, but
yeah,
I go back and forth between that and Silence of the Lambs. I really love Manhunter. I love William Peterson as the protagonist. I love the look of it, like the colors and the color scheme used in the movie by Michael Mann. We watched the director's cut, I believe, right? Yeah, we had the extra scenes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that adds to it. I do prefer the director's cut.
I do too.
I like the extra scene of him meeting the couple at the end.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's Ken Shriver.
Yeah, you pretty much said everything else about it when you talked about it. So I have it here at 35.
It's not too much different.
No, 34.
34 is Ginger Snaps for me.
Okay.
It's definitely in my top 10 werewolf movies.
Yep.
I like the whole thing about her period and the werewolf, that whole sort of thing going on, because I don't think a lot of people would have touched that, and I don't think they would touch it now.
I agree. Yeah.
I like the relationship between Ginger and B.
Mm-hmm.
I like the sequels, although I prefer the first one. Then it would be the prequel, the beginning, and then it would be the second one. That's how I would rank them, and I'll do that someday. But it's just, I don't know. It's just something about it. It's such a good watch.
Yeah, because it has Catherine Isabel in it.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, that's, of course, is the main reason. But yeah, I was trying to tiptoeing around that. But yeah.
So I'm going to piggyback on that because Ginger Snaps is also my 34. And I'm going to say one of the things I love about it is the fall setting, like the leaves.
Yes.
Autumn. That's another thing I love about Ginger Snaps.
I forgot about that. Yep. You're right.
I love the town. I know it's filmed in Canada, I believe.
Yep.
But it just looks so... It looks like it's ready for Halloween. And
yep.
I really love that. I love the makeup effects in it when they turn out,
awesome.
It's a good movie. It's definitely one too. It's a little bit longer than you would think it would be, but it's one that it's very rewatchable for me. Like I have no problem with the runtime at all.
It needs to have. Bless you. Sorry. It needs to have that runtime, I think.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about what you could cut out of it, I don't see that there's anything I could cut out of that.
No, exactly. I agree. It's
fine. All of it's necessary.
Yep. All right, 33.
33 is Night of the Comet.
Okay.
And that is mostly because of Mary, what's her name? Mary Catherine Stewart.
Something like that.
Yeah. Mostly because of her, and mostly because of the nostalgia for the mall.
Yeah.
The 80s clothes.
Yep.
It just, I don't know. It just.
Yeah, I get that. Like I said, that was really why I had it where I had it, for the nostalgia of the location, the movie theater, mall.
But you're right. Not much happens.
There's not a lot that happens in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I like how people consider it a zombie movie. Like they consider it like a first tier zombie movie. And yes, there are zombies in it, but I don't even really hardly consider it a zombie movie.
There aren't enough of them to really. It's because not a lot happens. It's just.
Yep.
It's almost like an afterthought that it's a zombie movie.
Exactly.
It's a mall movie first and foremost, and then it's
yeah.
You know?
It's an 80s movie.
Yeah.
What's your number 30?
33 for me is Last House on the Left.
Wow.
Yep.
I get it though. I mean, I get it.
I love it's just the raw and extremism of Wes Craven, early Wes Craven.
Yeah.
I like the soundtrack. You know, the folky soundtrack to the movie.
Actually, I do too.
You know,
David Hess was a talented motherfucker.
Yeah, and it adds to that vibe, like almost like a Manson, like a Charles Manson. Think about it, like the folky music of Charles Manson, only it's David Hess, and it's like this. I mean, they virtually killed them the same way the Manson murders would have taken place. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I've always been a big fan of Last House on the Left. So 33.
I really like David Hess. I really do.
All right, 32.
Shame he wasn't around to do more movies. It really is. 32 for me is Apt Pupil. Okay. And this was a tough one for me because I didn't feel... What?
My 32 is Apt Pupil too.
Okay, well, let's talk about it then. I couldn't justify putting it higher, but I couldn't justify putting it lower either.
Same. I went back and forth with this one.
Yep. And I think I settled on 32, and I think that's kind of where it belongs for me.
Yep.
I know what you and Brad said about the book. I did buy it. I bought 4 seasons. Or is that it? 4 seasons?
Different seasons.
Different seasons.
Yeah.
I bought that, and I plan on reading that story. I bought it specifically because we watched it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know.
Well, Stand By Me is also in there too, you know, the body.
Yeah. I mean, I want to read the whole thing, but I want to read Apt Pupil specifically. Mm-hmm. Brad Refreno was a...
Jeez, Brad, I'm sorry.
Yeah. What?
Sorry about that. No, I was reading Brad's message.
Oh, that's all right, dude. Oh, shit. Oh, wonderful. Dude, I'm sorry, bro. Keep us updated on how he's doing, please.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay.
Apt Pupil.
Apt Pupil, yeah. I meant to tell you that when I went to that store the other day, the one that the flea market guy opened, they had Bully on VHS.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I have the DVD, so I don't really need it, but I was just surprised to see it on VHS. I'm not sure how rare it is, but yeah.
So yeah, Apt Pupil, I mean, it's a tough watch for some people. I think the performances are brilliant. I do love the ending.
Yeah.
With David Schwimmer.
Yeah.
It's really just it's so performance driven on all accounts. I mean, I love it. I mean, down to Joshua Jackson as a friend, who's not in that much of it, but just everybody just fits their role perfectly, I think.
Yep.
All right, 31.
31 for me is Maniac Cop 2.
Okay.
When we watched it, I was reminded how much I love that movie and why, like we were saying before, why it's my favorite. Mm-hmm. Even though I wish Bruce Campbell was in it more. Mm-hmm. It's such a good fucking movie, man. It's so good. Yeah, it's really good. What's your 31?
Death by Temptation.
Wow, big difference in that one.
It was very high for me. Like originally, it was even higher. But again, you say it's a big difference, but I'm telling you, I think if you watch the uncut version, I think it's gonna take a huge hike for you.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, and that's why I have it on like probation.
it's just something really fun about it. Like I said, I used to be a fan of A Different World, so
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? I like it
That
a
was
lot.
a damn good show.
As far as trauma movies go, it's probably one of my favorites. And like you said, it almost doesn't feel like a trauma movie.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I dig that one a lot.
Very good. Because Brad's in here. Very good double feature would be Death by Temptation and Vampire in Brooklyn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that what I recommended?
One of us did. I knew one of us did.
Yeah. So, all right, number 30.
30 for me is Private Parts. I love that movie the first time I watched it. Eric sent it to me.
I'm there with you again. Not to cut you off, but Private Parts.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Private Parts is a really good film. A little bit deeper than I thought it was the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, I really enjoyed it more, and I loved it the first time. It's
Private Parts to me is one of the most underrated on the list. I think I remember saying that when we did our reviews.
Yep, I agree.
And it did get a DVD release, but still no one talks about it. I think it's one of the least discussed films on the entire list.
Yep, I completely agree with you.
I think that's a shame. I always had this weird crush on the main girl in that movie.
Yeah, I know you were saying that. I mean, she's attractive.
Just something about her, like she has like this awkward cuteness to her. I love that hotel setting, like just that great.
Oh my god, it's so cool. The fact that he was able to get away with that too.
Yeah, and then the twist of the movie is just something that is just you just don't see coming, and for that time anyway, when the time the movie came out, it was definitely not like a 70s style twist.
Yes, definitely a product of his time, that's for sure.
All right, we are into the 20s now. 29.
29 for me is Funny Games. That could have moved higher. There is really a meanness about that film. And like I said, the connection, which I'm not going to say here, I told you, in case somebody else watches my video. It's just so fucking mean-spirited. It really is. And I like both of them. I like the fact that it's a shot-for-shot remake, and it brought it to us, kind of in the same way that it brought it to where it originally came from.
Yeah.
And, I just think it's fantastic. It really is. That could have gone higher, but I'm happy with where it is.
Yeah. Seems about right.
Yeah.
29 for me is The Vanishing. As you talked about earlier, I find it to be one of the most disturbing on the list.
Yep.
I think
absolutely.
For me personally, I think it's pretty scary because I know we talked about this when we watched it. Ever since seeing that movie, it makes me very aware of my surroundings when I'm out with my wife and my son.
Yep.
It's horrific in the sense that it's just so real. Like this is the shit that happens in real life.
Yep.
And there is just no happy ending. I mean, it's not meant to be a spoiler. It's just a downer of a movie. I mean, there's nothing good that's going to happen. And when it ends, you're just like, really? Fuck you. Like,
yep.
And it sticks with you. It's definitely one that you're not going to forget after seeing it.
Alexa, stop.
All right.
28.
Number 28 is, and you should already know this because I talked about this earlier, is Santa Sangre.
Okay.
I think it's very creative, like you said, with the arms and everything. Mm-hmm. I don't really want to spoil it, so I'll keep it cryptic, I guess. Okay. It's a beautiful film. Mm-hmm. Very well made. And that store also had Holy Mountain, I think it is. But they wanted too much for it.
Wow.
I'll get it eventually, but not right now. But yeah, they had the DVD of Holy Mountain, the original DVD. Yeah. But it is it's a different type of film. And that's about all I can say about it without really Yeah. It's something. It's something to experience. That's about all I can say about it.
My 28.
2 hours.
My 28 is Funny Games.
Really? Fuck me.
Again, it's another disturbing one. This is one that I think would be divisive amongst people watching it because there's certain things that are happening in it that I think people would be like, okay, it's
Enough.
going too far,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. Enough.
I mean, for people like us, I mean, it's never really enough. So I enjoy
Still
it.
surprising, though. Still surprising.
Yeah.
First time I saw it, I did not think that was going to happen.
It's definitely shocking in many ways. And again, again, not to be a spoiler, but there's no happy ending. I mean, it's just you watch it and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And by worse, I don't mean a bad quality movie. I mean the situation for the people involved just gets worse.
Yep. Absolutely.
And there's these villains that you just want to fucking kill yourself. Like,
yeah.
And I feel like that's successful because you should want to hate a villain.
Yep.
You know? So yeah, Funny Games is at 28 for me.
I completely agree with that. My 27 is Motel Hell.
Okay.
I've always liked this film. I think the whole Farmer Vincent's Fritters is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Wacky Sister. I like the pig heads. I think it's fun. It's just a different type of slasher movie,
mm-hmm.
and I can appreciate it for what it is.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my 27. You're 27?
Well, I think you know mine, Santa Sangre.
Motherfucker.
Well, like we talked about earlier, I know we both had it like right next to each other, those two.
Wow.
And the same thing that I said earlier, you know, I kind of was going back and forth between Funny Games and Santa Sangre, which one's going to be above the other.
Yeah.
And I think Santa Sangre, if I had to recommend only one of those two to people, I would recommend Santa Sangre only because I don't think Funny Games, again, I think people would have trouble getting through Funny Games, where at least with Santa Sangre, there's certain visuals to appreciate and the clowns and the circus setting, and there's these different, there's different things in that has to offer. That Funny Games is very much in one location the entire time, and it's just like if you're not digging it from the beginning, you're in trouble. It's not going to get any better for you. Whereas Santa Sangre,
she's got that right.
Santa Sangre has a bit more to it. There's more of a complexity, and I think it's gorgeous. I think it's a masterpiece in a lot of ways.
It's a beautiful film.
So I am going to go with that. Santa Sangre is going to be 27.
That's amazing. It was so close and right next to each other too. 26. I almost feel bad that it's a 26 because I believe it deserves to be a little bit higher, but I couldn't justify putting any of the other movies above it.
I'm waiting to see.
Baby Blood.
Okay. All right.
Such a good movie. Oh my god. And it's got a lot of rewatchability for me too. Mm-hmm. It is foreign, so if you don't like reading subtitles, it's probably not for you. But man, it's something. Yeah, it's something.
It is.
Yeah.
26 for me is Swamp Thing.
Is what?
Swamp Thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. I love it. I love the setting. I mean, obviously it takes place in a swamp, but I just fucking love the look of it. I mean, I feel like it's just you don't get a lot of movies with a swamp setting quite like that, and it needed to be done perfectly for it to really work because you can't have a movie called Swamp Thing and then have like a shitty location.
Yeah.
But I feel like Wes Craven really got this setting right in that.
Oh, he went for it. Yep.
I mean, I love the look of the monsters in it. They're cheesy, but I love it. You got David Hess again. You got Adrienne Barbeau.
Yep.
Hanging out naked in the swamp. I mean, you gotta give them extra points for that. So, yeah. Swamp Thing.
I love the costume for the time period.
Me too.
I still think it was ahead of its time back then, but that's just me.
25.
25 for me is The Keep.
Okay. I'll stop you right there.
Okay.
Sickening. I'm at The Keep. I got The Keep at 25.
Do you really?
So we can kind of go back and forth with this.
All right. The Keep for me is everything. I love the movie that they turned out, but I'm also mad because I want to see the entire thing.
That's how I feel about it. I feel like we were robbed.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like The Keep
But we were
as
still given a good movie, though.
I feel like the Keep is fucking amazing, but it's frustrating when. I mean, I feel this way about Phantasm, and Phantasm is my personal favorite horror movie of all time. I feel like, yes, I love Phantasm so much; it's my favorite, but I feel cheated out of not being able to see all of the footage.
Yep.
And that's how I feel about The Keep. It's like, come on, just throw us a bone here. Like, like let's see the rest of it.
It's not about you anymore. It's about the fans.
Exactly.
Give it up. You've been a dick for long enough. And it's not only that. I mean, it's the beautiful imagery. It's I mean, oh my God, that guy knows how to shoot a film.
The
really
music,
does.
Tangerine Dream.
Oh my God, it's a brilliant film. It really is.
All right, 24.
24 for me is the only anthology, and that is Necronomicon.
Come on, Necronomicon is mine.
No, really? Do you know that before yesterday, it was down at like 35 for me?
Really?
What the
I'm
fuck
surprised.
is wrong with you?
I
I was literally saying to myself, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
I thought it was going to be higher. You were going to have it higher than I have it, and here we are at the same spot, 24.
I had it lower because, I mean, I love it. I've only watched it one time. So
it doesn't matter. It's a fucking amazing anthology. And
I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, when we ever do anthologies again, it's going to be right up there.
I think it's funny that we were like, oh, it's too bad they only included one anthology on the list, but they included one hell of an anthology on the list.
You got that right. Yeah,
I fucking love it.
I do too. I love the fact that it's Lovecraft. I love the fact that
I love that Jeffrey Combs plays Lovecraft, because who else better to play, you know?
He's just so associated with it now. It's just crazy.
Hey, let to cut you off. Hey, it's Danny, DJ.
Hey,
boy.
Danny, what's up, man?
Great to see you in the chat.
Hell yeah, man.
That is awesome progress.
Yep.
Very, very cool. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
That's amazing.
We've been talking about you a lot lately.
Absolutely.
So.
Okay, we are on 23.
23 for me is Thrill Me.
Okay.
Night of the Creeps. I always have a blast with this movie. I've always loved it. It doesn't seem to go up, but it never goes down. It's just one hell of a consistent, fun movie.
I agree.
That's the only thing I could say about it.
Okay. 23 for me is Pumpkinhead.
Get the fuck out of here. Okay.
Yep, Pumpkinhead. This is one of probably my most watched movies on this list.
Yes.
I usually try to watch it every year around Halloween. Erin loves this movie. For any of you who don't know, Erin is my wife. She fucking loves Pumpkinhead.
Yep.
But and it's like even remotely gets near October. By September, she's saying, "Oh, we gotta watch Pumpkinhead."
Yeah, and Kenny and Company. Kenny and
Company too. Yep. But don't worry, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch. Definitely an annual watch for me. And yeah, I love it. It probably would be higher if not for certain factors in these other upcoming movies. But 23 is very high considering this was a list of 101 movies.
Well, if you think that's high, try 22.
Is that where you have it?
That's where I have Pumpkinhead.
Nice.
Pumpkinhead is an amazing creature feature. And before we get into this real quick, you're welcome. Beat the hell out of this shit and get better, man. Get better quick.
But they're always thinking about you.
Yep. Always. Yeah, Pumpkinhead is at 22. It's an incredible creature feature. Stan Winston, rest in peace. Man, he gave us so many amazing things over the years. And I still can't get over the fact that when this originally came out, I was like, now they've gone too far. Now they got a movie coming out called fucking Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
I never dreamed that I would like it as much as I did.
I'm glad they called it that though instead of Vengeance the Demon, because I just don't like that. I don't know. If it, like when a title
would have worked, but I don't think it would have had as much of an impact.
A title like that to me, when a title has like a colon like that, it almost feels like they couldn't decide what to call it, so they put like 2 titles. Like, we want to call it Vengeance, but that's not enough. We want to call it the Demon, but there already is a demon, so let's just call it Vengeance colon the Demon. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't like titles like that unless it's like a sequel.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they could have called it like instead of Blood Wings, they could have called it Vengeance of the Demon.
You too, Danny.
Yeah, exactly. You are too, man. Yeah.
Well, it's just funny because I just kind of realized that just now we just had these 2 swapped because my 22 is Night of the Creeps.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So instead of you just had the reverse. For the same reasons you said, it's just such a fun movie.
Yep.
It's like a movie that makes me smile when I'm watching it.
Yep.
You know, you just kind of. I mean, I don't understand. It's one of those movies. If someone said, "Oh, I find this boring," or "I don't find this entertaining," I'd be like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" Like, it's just super entertaining. It's like a high school movie with like sci-fi horror. You got Tom Atkins, fucking great.
Yep. Throw me.
21.
All right, number 21. Right before we get into the top 20, 21 for me is all about nostalgia, and it's Hell Night. I love Hell Night. I love the fact that it's not just, I mean, it's people. It's a slasher movie, but they also seem like monsters.
Yeah.
Because of deformities, because of birth defects, and all that kind of stuff. And man, I tell you, I freaking love Hell Night. I really do. I always have. I like the contained setting, even though it's a big open house. I like the whole manor itself. Mm-hmm. It's just a fantastic film. And like I said, I'm waiting to see her topless. So, Savage Streets, damn it, watch that. So
21 for me is The Evil Within, also known as Baby Blood.
Not too far, not too big of a difference there.
This was a first time watch for me. Fucking loved it. I was not expecting it to be quite what it is. I love the voice that they used.
Yes.
It's so awesome. I love the effects in it. I love the fucking massacre on the bus.
Yep.
This was in my top 10 for a long time in this challenge.
Mine too. Mine too.
Yeah, it ended up here just because of, again, watching different movies and stuff like that after the fact. But yeah, it just barely, misses my top 20, and I almost wish I could have had it in my top 20, but just
me too.
No moving anything around at this point. So,
like I said, I almost felt guilty about putting it at 26, but yeah, I mean, the other movies are just like,
And now we are officially in the top 20.
Top 20 time. My top 20, and this one fell a little bit. It was originally at number, I think 13. I think, but it's Brain Damage.
Okay.
I love Frank Henenlotter. I love Frankenhooker. I love the Basket Case movies. I loved Bad Biology. I think he is one of my favorite directors. And Brain Damage was towards the bottom of my list. But after this watch, there's something about Ulmer that I just fucking love it. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Your number 20?
My number 20 is Cherry Falls.
Really?
Yep. As far as slashers go on this list, this might be like the biggest traditional slasher. As far as like just somebody you don't know killing, like, almost like a whodunit slasher.
Yeah.
It really follows the trend. It's the most expensive TV movie of all time when it was released because
I think that's cool.
It wasn't meant to be a TV movie. It was meant to have a theatrical run. I love that Scream Factory released it because it deserved a good release. And I hate to say this, because she passed. I wasn't a huge Britney.
Me neither.
But I like her in Cherry Falls.
I do too.
And there's something bizarrely sexy about her. And again, I feel weird saying it because she has passed, but I guess we talked about it people in the past that have passed that, you know.
Yeah, but a lot of people felt that way about her too. Even when she was, even when she was living, they felt, well, I guess they felt more about her that way when she was living. But I get what you're saying. She was kind of a sex symbol. Maybe it was because of the pouty look.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it was, because like I said, I never really found her that attractive, and I didn't really care for her. I'm like right on board with you, but something about her in that movie.
And
you're right.
Believe me, I'm not a huge foot person. I'm far from a Tarantino. I don't have a foot fetish. But it's like there's something sexy about her in that scene when she's like the way she's looking at the dude and he's like sucking her toes and shit, and she's just it's, don't get me. I'm not saying the foot thing specifically, but the way she is in that scene, like the faces she's making, the way she's acting, she's just I don't know. There's something sexy about her in that movie, and I mean, it's an awesome slasher film too. I also love the twist in that one. I love the storyline. It actually reminds me a lot of Pumpkinhead 2, the storyline. The whole blood
kind
ring.
of, yeah.
You know what I
His
mean?
number 20 was Cherry Falls, Brad.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So on to 19.
Jeez, you guys are going quick.
19 is The Beyond for me. I love Italian horror. I mean, we were talking about this before. I love the fact that they throw everything in the fucking kitchen sink, and it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. They have no apologies. They have no explanation. They just want to entertain you. And I think that's why I've been drawn to a lot of Italian horror later in my, my horror loving life. But I don't know. The Beyond is just so much fun. And it's got your namesake in it too, right, Joe?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 19 is The Beyond. It was a lot lower, but I couldn't justify putting it any lower than it is now. I can see that. Yeah.
19 for me is Paper House.
Yeah. I kind of had that. I had a feeling that was coming.
Yeah, Paper House is one that I loved, like before we did this challenge. It was one that I had seen.
Yep.
I really liked it. Back when I first got the book, the Fangoria book. It was probably one of the first movies I bought that I didn't own from it. Because I kind of did some research on it. I saw people kind of praising it, saying a lot of good things. It sounded like something I was really going to enjoy.
Yeah.
The fact that it's Bernard Rose, who also directed Candyman, I thought that was cool.
Yep.
I love this whole surreal feel. Like I love movies that really go into like dreams and nightmares and kind of explore that realm. And that's really what that does.
Yep.
And I love the ending. The ending is sort of like haunting
but freeing at the same time.
Yes. Yep. And I'm a big fan of Paper House. I really wish that would release here.
I think a lot of people need to see that for the simple fact that I think more people can relate to that than not.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely a relatable film, whether you have, child abuse or whatever, or the thought of child abuse. It's not just that. It's about everything else in the film.
Yep.
And that's why I think it appeals to a lot of different people. Why it would appeal to a lot of different people. So
what do you got for 18?
18 is The Exorcist 3.
Okay.
I actually have a new appreciation for it since we watched it. It's not a secret. I said it in my video. I'm a big fan of Legion. The Legion cut, I think, is more down to earth. But something kind of happened when we watched it. When we watched the theatrical cut, and it didn't seem as fantastical as it did before.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it was just in the type of mood I'm in. Maybe it was the fact that I watched Legion before it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I really like that movie, and I love the buddy thing with George C. Scott and the priest. Yeah. Fucking love it. I don't know. It's a brilliant movie. It is a brilliant movie. What's your number 18?
My number 18 is Open Your Eyes.
Oh, wow. Big difference.
I not only love the movie itself, but I love the concept. The concept is kind of scary to me, and kind of
It is.
And I love the mask. First of all, I do prefer the mask in this as opposed to the one in Vanilla Sky.
I do too.
It's just there's something. It's almost like a Michael Myers thing. That's something so it's just simple, it's simplistic, like a motionless face. It makes it so much creepier, than seeing like a monster mask. It's like it's like a mask trying to be a face.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And there's something very creepy about that. Yeah, this movie just really resonates with me. I love Penelope Cruz in it.
Yeah, I do too, and I like her in the remake as well.
Yeah.
The fact that she plays the same part.
Yep.
Very important.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Open Your Eyes. I love the ending, which I don't want to spoil, about how is it or isn't it? You know what I mean?
It's definitely a scary movie when you think about
another conspiracy thing. I mean, it really comes down to is like, who do you trust?
Yep.
At the end, it's like, is he right for trusting the right people?
Right.
All right. 17.
17 was a first time watch for me, and that is Day of the Beast. This movie is all that and then some. Usually when people tell me, not you, but when other people tell me that a movie's fantastic, usually I don't really get my hopes up too much. I try to go in like I'm watching any other movie. This one, it just fucking blew me away. It really did. One of the best first-time watches ever. Yeah. Your number 17?
My number 17 is The Exorcist 3.
No shit.
I've said it before. I prefer The Exorcist 3 to The Exorcist. I always have.
Actually, I do now too.
I feel like it's paced better. I feel like like you said, I love the relationship between, the priest and the cop.
They tried to do it in the first one, but they didn't succeed.
It doesn't fit as well.
Yeah, it doesn't succeed as well. It does succeed, but it just doesn't succeed as well.
The chemistry in Exorcist 3, it feels like they've been friends for years. Like it really comes across that way. I still feel it has one of, if not the best jump scare in horror.
Yep.
That jump scare is incredible. I love Brad Dourif in his small but meaningful role in the film. I love the Georgetown setting with the mist and the atmosphere, and
me too.
I love The Exorcist 3. I love both versions. I do prefer Legion, the Legion cut, but I still love the theatrical cut.
So do I, and it's almost like an Italian movie, because he threw a lot of things in there, and it was to entertain you and scare you.
Yep,
and it worked. It worked.
All right, 16.
16 for me is a movie that I wanted to put a lot higher. I don't feel like it's gotten there yet, but it probably will. And that is Dead Waters or Dark Waters.
Okay.
I love this movie. Like I said, I like Italian cinema. And this movie, it really blew me away. The visuals in it are stunning. It's actually got some downright, not even creepy, some scary moments in it. The setting is fucking beautiful. Oh my God. The story, while it does leave a little to be desired, but when you watch it, you kind of find out that the story is kind of secondary to what they were trying to do, I think. I love this movie. I love it. That's Dark Waters, number 16. Day of the Beast.
Number 16 for me is Sisters.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I put it high. God damn.
I love it. I mean, it's the Palma.
That goddamn couch.
I love it. Yeah, the couch. I mean, pretty much everything you said about it. I think it it went even higher for me after watching it again for Terror in the Isles.
Oh, it definitely did for me. Yeah,
And
you're right.
Yeah, and I kind of went back and readjusted it accordingly for this.
Me too.
So, yeah.
Hey, Ben, it's only been 3 hours. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
15.
Kept the top 85 for me. Well, yeah, we ought to actually run a list or something like that. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'll type one up and put it on Instagram or something. We'll see. I got a lot going on this week, but yeah. Number 15 is Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Okay.
This movie I have loved ever since I first saw it, and I first saw it when it came out because there was this big hype around it, saying not that it was a great movie, but it was the most extreme movie you'll see.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I wanted to see it. It was hyped up pretty good, and it didn't disappoint. And I think it holds up well this many years later. Michael Rooker is haunting. It shows that he has genuine acting chops in it. And it's not a feel-good movie, and plan on taking a shower when you're done. That's the only thing I can say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something. What's your number 15?
15 for me is The Ugly.
Ugly 15. Not bad.
And for me, I mean, for anybody who knows, this was a movie that I really didn't like too much.
I knew this had a huge jump for you.
Yeah, and then I reviewed it for Second Chance Slashers and Slashback Challenge. I liked it more. Didn't love it, but I liked it a lot more.
Right.
And then we watched it again, obviously, for this challenge, and I loved it this time. I think it was a matter of getting over those fucking assholes that work at the hospital, because I cannot stand those two guys. I cannot stand them. But there's a lot that I really do like about this. I think Simon is freaking incredible.
Yeah.
I think he's an awesome killer. He deserves way more credit. I'm glad he was featured in that Boogeyman compilation.
Me too.
And that's pretty cool. He deserved that credit. And I really love the dynamic between him and the Doctor in this movie. I love in the director's cut what they do with the end scene, which they change in the R-rated cut, which really affects the movie for me.
It does,
because it changes the whole meaning of everything. So the director's cut would be ranked here at number 15.
Thank you for pointing that out to me too. It changed a lot, and I don't know whether it was maybe the tint on my television, but I just didn't come through like it did for you.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you telling me about it, and I could see it when I was looking for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it meant a lot.
14
for me is Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Okay.
I've always loved this movie. It to me ranks right up there with a Little Girl Who Lived in a Lane. It's a mind bender. I like the fact that she came out of I always like when people come out of like an asylum, kind of like in When a Stranger Calls.
Yeah.
But they can't really get a grasp on reality.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like stories like that. I always have. And this one has a lot in it too. A lot of, and I don't want to say what type of film it ends up being, but let's just say it's not one of my favorite subgenres.
Yeah.
And I just think it's fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Your number 14?
My number 14 is Jack B. Nimble.
Such a good movie.
This, I mean, as you know, this is one I kept putting off, not because I didn't want to watch it, but because I was trying to kind of save that anticipation towards the end.
Yep.
And, I knew it was going to be a first time watch for you. And I don't know, I just felt like it was better to not get it over with. It was one that I was really looking forward to watching toward the end of the challenge. I think we watched it like fourth to last. And
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like number 97 that we did. And 98, yeah. And I've always liked this one, and it's one of those obscurities that no one ever knew what I was talking about. Yeah. I mean, no one ever heard of Jack B. Nimble. I think Alexis Arquette was amazing in this.
Yep.
For those of you unaware who maybe didn't watch our reviews, at this point, this was before he had transitioned, so he was, still a male at this point in the film. And I think he was a fantastic actor in this movie. I think it has the most unique killing weapon
Ever.
in any movie ever. And I mean, there's really no way to describe it. I wouldn't even want to spoil it for anybody. I think it's one of those things you need to watch to see how it's done.
Yeah.
An incredibly unique killing weapon. And
it's an incredibly unique movie too.
Yeah, there's also this dreamlike surreal quality, sort of like an Alice Sweet Alice that this whole movie kind of has. Almost where there's almost at times it almost feels like a feel good movie, and then other times it's such a downer. It's this weird like back and forth in this film. It just makes you feel a certain way, and even like the ending of it is like a whole. The ending very much reminds me of the way Paper House ends. And
Yeah,
it has,
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, it's like this hauntingly beautiful ending.
Yep.
And I'll leave it at that. So up to 13 now.
I agree with that. We got 13 is Communion or Alice Sweet Alice.
Okay.
It's a movie that I've always liked. I always felt is still very, very underrated, even though a lot of people know about it. I don't feel like it gets its just desserts, as you would say. I also, for some reason, always forget who the killer is. Maybe it's because I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because the intended killer seems like a killer.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Alice Sweet Alice at number 13. Fantastic movie.
13, I have The Dentist.
Hell yeah.
Mainly for the rewatchability. I mean, again, it's one that it's another one when I watch it, I'm like, damn, I really love this movie. Like, I have so much fun watching it.
It's so good too.
I have so much fun watching it. I love the setting, like both his like house, but also like the dentist office. I mean, I love how it has like the different rooms. Each room has
yes. I was just gonna mention that.
So cool. And then it does deal with stuff that some people do have. A lot of people have the fear of the dentist, and this just
I do
to the extreme. Really like it. So wacky. Love The Dentist. And we are up to number 12.
Number 12 for me is a movie that I absolutely love now, and I did not like the first time I watched it. Yeah. Joe probably knows exactly what it is from that description. It's Session 9.
Yeah.
Session 9 is a very creepy movie that I wish I would have given more of a chance to the first time. By the way, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you.
It's just such a good movie. And it's funny because Leon got the story real quick. Leon got the Second Sight one, right? Mm-hmm. He watched it, he didn't like it that much. I said, give it a little time, watch it again. Let me know what you think.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, sometimes I think movies like that, I think you need to go into with the right frame of mind.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, I haven't gotten to it yet, so you know how much I love it.
Going from I didn't like it at all to number 12.
That's huge. That's kind of like my version of The Ugly, you know?
Yeah. It was at number 8 for the longest time. Hmm. But we ended up watching some movies that I just love them, you know?
My number 12 is Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Hell yeah.
This was in my top 10 for a while. It did drop down just because, it's a movie. You're kind of going to be in the right mind for it. I mean, it's not like one that you're going to pop in. I'm going to enjoy watching this right now. I mean, it's a really well done movie. Again, there's no real happy ending in this one. It's just this is Henry's as a serial killer, and this is what you're going to get.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Henry Lee Lucas,
raw and brutal, and I also love Confessions of a Serial Killer, which is based on the same real life serial killer. I love those two movies. I think they make the perfect double feature. That's why I recommended it as my relatable recommendation.
I gotta see that. I really do.
And Henry.
I'm telling you, man. You want to talk about Oscars? Fucking, he was robbed.
I agree. Michael Rooker, that was the role he was meant to play.
Yep, he was robbed.
All right, number 11, just one short of the top 10 here. What do you got?
I know. And this in number 10 could easily flip flop, but this is where I have them.
Okay.
And that is Humanoids from the Deep.
Okay.
This one actually took a big jump up when I sat down to figure it out.
Mhm.
Probably at least 10 spaces. I mean, I guess it's a big jump. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love this movie. I know we all share that in common. I know you
Yep.
love this movie. I know Brad loves this movie. Dave loves this movie. And it's just so much damn fun.
Mm,
Oh my God, it's fun.
I agree.
Okay. Your number 11?
My number 11 is Alone in the Dark.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was really close to making my top 10. I think it wasn't my top 10. I put it back, going back and forth. You know, it might be similar when we do. I'd have to look at my Turn in the Aisles ranking, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be. I feel like this is high. I mean, especially in a list of 101, and then
Yeah.
it's going to be high in my Turn in the Aisles. It deserves it. It's
Yep.
an awesome movie. I have that nostalgia factor with this one because of Terror in the Aisles.
Yep.
You know, just seeing the scenes alone in Terror in the Aisles always made me love this movie even more. And, you know, watching it for this challenge, you know, it's no different. I mean, I've always loved this one. I will continue to love this one. It's great. I love how it ends. I love it all.
That's the one movie. I said a lot of them suffered. Sisters benefited. That was the one movie that did not change.
Yeah, it's pretty much steady. Yeah.
Yep. And my number 10 is
Well, we're into the top
Alone
10.
in the Dark.
Okay, I figured when you. Yeah.
And that was funny because, like I said, they could easily have flip flopped.
Yep.
But I think I like Alone in the Dark a little bit better.
Okay.
The home invasion.
Yep.
I love oh my God. I mean, you have the cream of the crop. You really do. Martin Landau. You have Donald Pleasance. Who's the other guy? Jack Palance. I mean, you don't find movies like that anymore. You just don't. And Alone in the Dark is just brilliant.
Yeah.
Number 10?
Number 10 for me is, okay, so we just swapped them because I have Humanoid from the Deep.
I knew it.
So, yeah, we just swapped.
I had a feeling.
And I agree with you. They kind of could be back and forth. I could have literally had Alone in the Dark here and Humanoid from the Deep there.
Exactly.
I have so much fun with Humanoid from the Deep. The carnival setting at the end is what
Me too. Oh my God.
pushes it for me. I fucking love it. I love that this is one of those movies that really could have failed for being too silly, but it doesn't. It works.
It does.
I mean, it's fish people. I mean, you know what I mean? It's really what it comes down to, these fish monsters. And it still works where you're not like, oh my God, this is ridiculously dumb. It's not.
It's so fucking entertaining. Oh my God.
Exactly.
Oh,
Fucking
God,
love it.
it's so entertaining.
It made my top 2 in my Tuesday Top Tuesdays.
Yes, it did.
For a reason.
I don't think it did for me.
So it's just,
I think that was a tough year for me, but no, it's a fantastic film. It really is.
number 9.
Number 9 is a movie that I wanted to put higher, but always stayed in the top 10 from the time we watched it until now.
I wonder if it's going to be the same.
It's Dolls.
Okay. Not.
I would have been surprised if it was I knew this was going to be higher for you. I love Dolls. There's something about the nostalgic. It's what I consider every horror movie to be.
Did I tell you I watched it the other day?
Stuck in the Rain, huh?
Did I tell you I watched it the other day?
Did you really?
I woke up and it was on one of those channels on Pluto TV, on one of the horror channels.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can't go back to sleep now. And I ended up watching the entire
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something you hear about. You hear about this universal plot in horror, even in the old dark house, where a couple gets stuck in the mud or in the rain, and they have to walk to the nearest house, and a bunch of terror ensues. And that is exactly what Dolls is. It's the epitome of what that trope is in horror. But there's something different about Dolls. There's something childlike and something very magical about that film.
Dolls for me. Well, I'll say it when I get to it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's just brilliant.
I know exactly.
It's brilliant. And Stuart Gordon. I mean, that guy was amazing. Amazing. Definitely one of my favorite directors as well. So, yeah, Dolls at number 9. What's your number 9?
Number 9 for me also involves a doll, but it's Pin.
We're close on this one, too.
This is the one that was in my top 10 since we watched it. And we watched it fairly early on.
Me too.
And this one never really left my top 10.
Nope.
Yeah, so Pin for me, huge fan of this one ever since I watched it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you haven't gotten to it yet, so I'll let you kind of speak on it when you get to it. Yeah, give me just 1 second, all right?
Okay. We are up to, man, I can't believe we're already up to number 8. It's been a long stream, but it's been a really good one. And I appreciate everyone who stuck with us. I think we have 11 people in there now. I appreciate it. I appreciate the people who, like I said, who commented on the videos and who watched our videos. And it was a really fun challenge. And both Joe and I were sorry it came to an end. That's for sure.
All right, we're on number 8.
All right. Number 8 for me is Castle Freak.
Okay.
Stuart Gordon and a Stuart Gordon. So, yeah, I love Castle Freak. It's like you said, it's one that I've been watching. I know you said you got to that one kind of late.
Yeah, I watched it later than I think I should have.
Yeah, I have the nostalgia factor, and I think that the remake coming out and being so freaking good kind of lent itself to the fact that there's good material there, if in the right hands, of course. But those two, man, they're good. The original and the remake, god damn, they're so good. Yeah, number 8, Castle Freak. I don't know what else to say.
Number 8 for me is Brain Damage.
I had a feeling.
I think it's my favorite Penn and Lauder film. I love Aylmer, always have.
Me too.
I have like a weird attachment to this movie. It was one. So when I got this Fangoria book, I had kind of forgotten about Brain Damage. I know I had seen it when I was younger, like renting it.
Right.
But for some reason, I don't know why. It was like, oh my god, I didn't know about that movie. Now I really want it so bad. And it was so hard to find because the DVD was out of print.
Yep.
And I literally scaled like every Newberry comic store I could find. And I actually didn't find it until I went to the original Newberry comic store on Newberry Street in Boston. And that's where I found my DVD copy of Brain Damage at the time. And it was just one of those things when you find a movie you've been looking for a while, and you're like, oh my god, yes. And for finding it, and I couldn't not wait to drive, the hour home to watch it.
To watch it right away, yeah.
It was one of the movies that I got home and I watched it right away, and I was just smiling from ear to ear the entire time. Fucking loved it. And yeah,
such a good movie, dude.
I would have been surprised if it wasn't in my top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that up to number 7 now.
Plus, you got the famous blowjob scene. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? I mean, come on. It's just fucking great.
Yep.
Let's see. Number 7 for me is Penn. Just like you, I took a chance and I rented this back. I would say it was probably like 1990, 1991, maybe 90. I can't remember. But I took a chance and I rented it at the video store, and I have been obsessed with this movie ever since. I've watched it. It's not one I revisit very often because I find that it's better to watch it every so often. That way it has as big of an impact.
I agree.
But man, it's done so well. And again, it's got the Terry O'Quinn commonality.
Yep.
He's so much better of an actor than anybody gives him credit for. Yeah, Penn at number 7. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant. It's haunting. It's creepy. There's some shit in there that you can't unsee. Shit with a nurse. Yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant movie. Your number 7?
My number 7 is The Day of the Beast.
I had a feeling this would be really high for you.
Yeah. I mean, this to me is another masterpiece. It was I had watched it first for 12 Days of Christmas one year, and then that was the first time watch for me when I watched it for the 12 Days of Christmas.
Really?
Yeah, it fucking blew me away.
Oh,
Blew
yeah.
me away. And this was before it was released on Blu-ray and 4K and only available on VHS. So I had tracked down a copy of the VHS so I could watch it for the 12 Days of Christmas.
Right.
It was one of the few I didn't own at that point from this Fangoria list.
Right.
And over the years, I just had never come across it. And I was like, I'm like, I'll find it eventually. It's only on tape. Maybe they'll release it on DVD eventually. They never did, obviously, until recently with the 4K Blu-ray release.
Right.
And when I found out it was a Christmas movie, I was like, damn, I didn't know it was a Christmas movie.
Yep.
So I finally got a copy of the VHS, did it for 12 Days of Christmas, blew me away. And then I couldn't wait for you to watch this one when we did the Fangoria challenge.
I think I'm where you were, and I think I'll be where you are now the next time I watch it.
Yeah.
I think it gets better with multiple watches. I can see myself really enjoying that more the more times I watch it. Definitely.
All right, number 6.
Number 6 for me is I'm actually surprised it's as low as it is, and that's The Ugly.
Okay.
This was my number 2 for a long time until a certain movie that I had never seen before invaded my mind.
Yeah.
But I love The Ugly. The guards are complete trash, but the rest of the movie is absolute gold. I don't know. There's just something about, and that's another movie that every once in a while you rent something and you find a diamond in the rough, just like I did with Penn. And The Ugly was the same way. I just rented it based off the cover. And I could not believe how good it was. So, yeah, that's The Ugly at number 6.
I have Maniac, number 6. This probably would have been higher. I mean, if not for what the top 5 are for me,
Yeah.
for various reasons. Amazing movie. It's like me and you said, we're kind of sick because it's like comforting for us somehow.
It is.
I don't know why.
Oh, my God.
There's something comforting about this gritty New York City setting. Even like his shithole apartment. I don't know what the hell it is, but like there's something comforting about watching it.
It is.
I mean, Frank Zito is an incredible character. Joe Spinell was amazing in the role.
Still can't believe he's gone.
Yeah, Maniac. All right.
Number 5. We're in the top 5. Number 5 for me is Tombs of the Blind Dead. I love the movie. It's just the entire series, even though there's ones that I like less. The entire series it just blew me away. I like the whole pagan sort of thing with the Ankh symbol. I like the skeletons dressed in the robes. I like the fact that they really worked hard on this movie. And I will have to say, I just watched 2 more of his films, Armando de Osorio. I watched the Night of the Sorcerers, and the Lorelei's Grass, which you'll be hearing next Saturday. A little bit more about them. But yeah, Tombs of the Blind Dead is brilliant. I love the entire series. It's just amazing.
My number 5 is The Blob.
Of course.
Yeah,
well, it should be.
It's my favorite remake of all time. I actually toyed around with having it even in my top 3. This is one that I rented countless times and eventually ended up with that same tape that I used to rent as a kid. And then I literally owned in my collection.
Just like I did with Penn.
Yeah, I mean, I just love everything about it. I really do. I love the town, the small town setting. I love the characters. I love Kevin Dillon in it.
Yep. Very underrated actor.
I love the effects. The kills are incredible.
Yeah.
Like fucking incredible. And I mean, the effects of the Blob itself, they look better than they should for that time. Even though it was 1988, I feel like they still shouldn't have been as good as they look. And why are they? I feel like they don't get enough credit for being as good as they are. Like the look of the Blob is phenomenal. Love it. Number 4.
I completely agree. Number 4 for me is Terror at the Opera, or Opera. Like I said, I'm a big Italian horror fan. I love Argento. I think this is my favorite Argento film. Very mean-spirited. Fucking really mean-spirited. Brilliant shots. I love the atmosphere of the opera. I will say, you had a point there with the whole bird thing, even though I'm mesmerized by the shooting and how state-of-the-art it was for its time. It does go on a little too long.
Yeah.
It's almost like he toots his horn a little bit too long.
I agree. Yeah.
But man, god damn, the fucking pins on the eyes, man. I mean, that's just, it's not only mean-spirited, but it's frightening.
I agree, yeah.
So yeah, Opera is my number 4.
My number 4 is, I mean, I would consider it one of my favorite horror movies of all time, which says something about my top 3.
I know it. Good.
Black Christmas.
Oh. You threw me there.
Yeah, Black Christmas is number 4 for me. Again, literally one of my favorite horror films of all time.
Yeah.
Which just shows how much I love my top 3.
Yep. I would have bet money number 4 would have been Dolls.
Yeah.
I am wrong, however.
All right, number 3.
Number 3 for me is Maniac. I have always loved this movie. Of course, there's the whole story behind it where the only movie my mom made me turn off. Man, it's just
Still going, Bones. Almost done.
Yeah, still going. The Maniac is just an amazing film. I think Joe Spinell was also robbed.
Yep.
I think he was robbed. I think he was a hell of an actor. Even though he played a lot of similar parts, I think Maniac was a branch out for him. And I think he did it so well that it just, I would love to see what he'd been doing today. I would love to have seen it.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, yeah, Maniac. And it's with a sadness that it's, number 3.
Same with me. So number 3, and it sounds funny saying it because we're literally at number 3. Yeah. And it sucks to even place it this low because of how good this movie is. But I have no choice. And so number 3 for me is Rampage.
Wow. Okay.
Fucking love it. I love both versions of it. Both cuts, we watched both cuts. I do prefer the 92 cut.
Yeah.
Ending, but
me too.
I fucking love this movie. I mean, so much so that I could literally put it on right now and watch both versions back to back.
Yep.
And love every minute of it. I just love this movie. This is the hardest movie to find on this list. It only made it to VHS and Laserdisc here in the US, and that's only the 92 cut, 92, the 92 version. The original 87 cut was never even officially released here. When I reviewed that one for 12 Days of Christmas, I had to show my Japanese Laserdisc because it's been released here. It's only on that, and I can't believe that a William Friedkin film so good.
It's a travesty. It's a travesty.
If anybody gets anything out of these reviews and out of this ranking, it is if you can find a copy of Rampage and watch it, please do yourself the favor and watch William Friedkin's Rampage. It is an amazing movie, and more people need to see it.
Speaking of which, they released a 9th configuration.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Limited edition, of course. Dickheads.
Number 2.
My number 2 is Rampage.
Yeah, I knew it.
This moved down a little bit for me, like maybe down to number 5, but then it was back up at number 2.
It belongs in the top 3, I think. Yeah.
I have no words. And the fact of the matter is, if I would have only seen one of the cuts, doesn't matter which one, it would have still been at number 2.
I agree.
But I think seeing both of the cuts almost made it number 1.
Yeah. It realistically could be number one. I mean, it honestly could.
Yep.
It's just that good.
Yep.
Number two for me is Fuck You, Session 9.
Oh, really? Oh my God.
Session 9, like I said, like with Black Christmas, and I guess any of these in my top 5 it's one of my favorite horror films of all time.
Yep.
I've always loved Session 9. Part of it is for me, I got to actually visit the shooting, the location, the hospital where it was filmed. Really cool.
That's so cool.
I love that movie. I love the characters. I love the fact that it's a psychological slasher film.
Yep.
Like people think of Session 9 and think of, it's a psychological horror movie, but it's literally a psychological slasher. Like, like the killer literally slashes the victims one by one throughout the film, and the location is amazing. I mean, I love how it's like the fears thing, like the nephew who's afraid of the dark when all the lights not going off in the tunnel and he's running and he's trying to get out of there.
It's frightening. It is. It's frightening.
And the last line of the movie is amazing. Fucking amazing.
The whole movie's amazing.
It's fucking love it. That's my number 2.
Yep.
And here we are.
Deservedly so. I had it at number 12. It could have moved higher, and I'm surprised it didn't, to be honest with you. But I think maybe next time I watch it, seem to like it more. So
number 1. Here it is, the number 1 movie.
Number 1 movie, of course. Number 1 movie for me, anyone who knows me knows this. Joe already said it. Of course, it's my number 1, and that is Black Christmas. Bob Clark. Murder by Decree, Bob Clark. So I can't wait to watch that.
Right.
Black Christmas is just all that. I know not everybody feels that way about Black Christmas, and that's okay. But it's a great film, and it's a film that actually scared me, and that is very hard to do.
Yeah.
And it's just so fucking good. So good.
Well, my process of elimination, you should know my number 1.
Of course.
Is Dolls. Dolls is my number 1.
And deservedly so.
It is the most nostalgic movie for me on the list.
Yep.
It's a movie, I can't even tell you how many times I've seen it. The short runtime helps. I mean, it's not even 80 minutes long. It's 70-something minutes.
Yeah, but even if it was longer, I still think it,
it just flies by. I mean, like you were saying, the fantastical elements of it, I feel like to me it's the ultimate gateway horror, but it's genuinely scary.
Yeah.
So it's a horror film you can watch with your kid if your kid can deal with certain horror elements, because there are some creepy scenes in that movie.
Yeah,
I mean, when they find her in the attic with her eyeballs out and she's going, telling fucking leave and stuff, go back, like the voice she's saying is so creepy. And I mean, with the exception of a couple of nip slips, it's pretty much family friendly horror. And I
agree with that. Yep.
I love the house in that one as well. Like you said, it's like the perfect, like stuck in the mud, trapped in a rainy night. I love the simplicity of saying it's the longest night in the world. That makes it scary. Like it somehow makes it scarier by him telling them, it's the longest night in the world. Yeah. Like as if it's going to last. And it's so short. The movie's so short, but it's the longest night in the world. Thanks, John. Appreciate that, buddy. Like I said, it's just one that I grew up watching. Absolutely love it. I love Mr. Punch. It always breaks my heart.
Yes.
Crushed at the end. I love how the movie ends. There's something so sad and yet happy about it. Like it's a happy ending, yet there's a sadness to it. Even like the last lines of like Judy in the car with Ralph, and she's like, ever want to be married, Ralph? And she goes, my mom's single and she's real pretty. And then like the last line is like, you ever want the daughter? And it's like that always like gets me. It's like she's finally gonna get the life that she deserves, because obviously her dad and her stepmom were a piece of shit to her. Yeah. And I love it. I love the fact that the dolls only kill the assholes. You're young at heart. They don't go after you. Like they let them live.
And there's so much more to it than that. I mean, you're just kind of breaking it down. Yeah. I mean, you have that guy who I think is one of the most likable people.
I love him.
Any movie that I've ever seen.
Yep.
he wants to be a kid again, and you get the little girl who doesn't necessarily not want to be a kid, but she wants to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And just listened to. And it's just that when they come together, you learn a lot about life, and it's got so many messages to it. So many messages to that movie.
Well, guys,
it is fantastic.
That is it.
Yep.
Damn.
Thank you for joining us. We just counted down. We ranked all 101 of the best horror movies you've never seen, according to Fangoria.
Some of them.
This challenge is officially done.
Yep.
Which means on Thursday, we'll be uploading videos that will introduce our next challenge, which will officially begin next Sunday, 1 week from today.
Yep.
So we hope you enjoyed the Fangoria challenge, and we hope you will join us in supporting our next challenge.
Which is, in a way, a complete 360 from what we were doing in the Fangoria challenge, because these are mostly well-known films.
It's similar, very different. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So, yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. It's been almost 4 hours now, but
I know.
I think this was the best way to do it. I had a lot of fun.
Me too. Me too.
So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Yep.